Ring, ring, ring. Hello, priest, and welcome back to Krown's magical midsummer cave.
Well, have you heard the good word of Boo Law Jesus? Have you been paying attention to this market? Has Boo Law Jesus come and spoken to you? Do you like green dildos? Oh, fucking baby, Bitcoin rallying 5,000 bucks off the lows. We are looking for a little bit of an interesting end of the month here. With that said, I want to bring you back into reality right now, as we do have a little bit of inverted clickbait bullshit going on here. With that said, it's still a sideways as fuck market. Yes, I am still looking at a little bit more upside. Yes, we did hit our targets from yesterday. And yes, this market is more or less going to be boring for the most of summer. That's the fucking majority of it. That's the analysis. That's it. That's everything. By the way, I want to say massive thank you, massive shout out to everyone everyone liking this video. Holy shit. I think we reached a new all-time high on likes before the video actually even started. So that is kind of crazy, and major appreciation for that. I do understand now that in the realm of YouTube, liking and subscribing actually does help out the algorithm quite a fair bit. I feel a little bit disingenuous just asking for you to like and subscribe. But of course, if you are interested in this content, if you want to be reminded of it, then that would be the best way to keep in contact with it. Anyways, with that said, let's get in the Krown application right now, which we found at app.krown.net. And oopsies, I think I just pressed the wrong button. There we go. All right, whoopsies, I think I just fucked it up over here. All right, there we go. Okay, yes, we're back into it right now. Okay, now let's focus on the Krown application, which we found at app.krown.net. And what do we see? We do see all sorts of things right now. I am going to turn off the alerts for the time being. I do see over there, my friend, and I have to remember to put them on a little bit later here before Scott. What's up, bots for the win? Anyways, we do see a few things that are of particular interest right now. We do see that Bitcoin dominance still heading up alongside Bitcoin, essentially carrying out a bit of a rally, and altcoins in general are following versus US dollar, but certainly not as much. Now, there are a few winners here and there, of course, but for the majority of them, they are certainly laggards on this. So I do actually look at that as a general good sign, as we do see when Bitcoin is in an actual, trending mode on the higher term timeframes, especially, we want to see Bitcoin soaking up the altcoins, and that essentially plays into the Bitcoin dominance going up as long as we're trending. Now, in this case, price action going up would, more or less be a good thing, I suppose, overall, as we do expect that relationship during any trending move, whether it be to the upside or the downside. In this case, we do see a little bit of upside, especially in a short-term time frame. So with that in mind, we do see open interest did head up a little bit from yesterday to today. Not anything too crazy. I still want to see this take, multiple billions of legs ups. I want to see it get to like 7 or 8 billion before I start to look at this as very much playable or supportive of a break in the higher term time frame range. Again, pretty much the same thing that we've been looking at for the past month and a half now, about $31,500 to the downside, according to that new low that we just said in the other day. And of course, about $41,000 to the upside. Anywhere within there is just more or less the same. I see you, Mr. Caretaker. There he is. We are all Scott Carney. That's right, man. Good to see you, my friend. I think we got a few other moderators in here as well. Elsa's in the house. Is Nimbo here? What's up, Mr. Nimbo? If you are here or not. Anyways, with that said, what else can we pull up over here? Fear and Greed Index still stuck at a 27. Not anything too crazy right there. I mean, it is to be expected that it will remain more or less low. And with Bitcoin rallying about, $4,000 or $5,000 off the current lows, I do look at that as more or less good thing. Now, of course, it's not like the primary indicator to be looking at, but I do like how it kind of supports, a little bit of further upside as the market is still more or less on the fearful side. And you probably see a lot of very jarring headlines across the YouTube lands. Now, what I've started to do before making these videos, or sorry, not making, but, doing the live streams, is I actually go on YouTube and I'll type in Bitcoin analysis, and I just want to get like a quick snapshot of what people are typically saying. And it's very interesting to see. A lot of people are calling this a bull trap, or I guess we're calling it a bull trap yesterday. I think that has been successfully negated with $2,000 or $3,000 move. I think that kind of speaks for itself. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we do need to see price action kind of fall through with these sorts of things. So while it is a kind of interesting indicator, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's a counter indicator, but it's kind of a good idea to see what the general market is thinking. I suppose it would kind of support what I'm saying. So I'm just going to go with it. Yes, it confirms my biases. So there we fucking go. Anyways, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. We got Cello, Doggycoin, Nano, Quant, Thorchain, Stacks, Curve, OKB, Solana, and Huobi token, all on the winners list, all in double digits or more. Actually, I'm still a little bit on edge about shit like Doggycoin being in the big winners list. I mean, going up like 20% within a day when, Bitcoin did have a good day as well, but Doggycoin outpacing it is not necessarily a good sign to me. Realistically, when this, I want to see a reset in this market overall over like a longer period of time. And that means shit like, Doggycoin and all other useless tokens, have to bleed out a little bit versus Bitcoin. And we actually see the opposite thing right there. And that is a little bit concerning, I suppose. So that would be a good point kind of against, perhaps a macro continuation from where we're at. But ultimately, I would still be looking at, this as a range for the rest of summer between about $31,000 and $41,000. We probably get a move, a little bit above, a little bit below, but I wouldn't be expecting any weekly closures outside of that until we're like really ready to actually trend on the macro scale. Top 10 worst coins, we got Clayton Internet Computer. You tell me Internet Computer is on the losers list now too. Bitcoin Gold, Bakery Token, Filecoins, Phantom, Decred, UMA, and Ravane. It's like they just reverse each other each and every day. It's kind of funny. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. Let's see what we got going on over here. I want to check out the funny rates once again, and look at this. We see FTX, OKX, and Huobi all posting decently negative rates. Deribit, Kraken, BitMEX, and even Binance pretty much inconsequential right there. But still being a little bit more on the negative side does suggest that we have, another underlying market dynamic in favor of a little bit of upside continuation based off of yesterday's analysis and short-term time frame targets. On top of that, open interest, you can see, is really not doing anything out of the ordinary right here. I need to see it get above about 7 billion in order for me to, at the very least, entertain, like a bigger move outside of this range. With that said, let's go check out the put call market. I do think that this has also validated itself as well. Remember, coming into the beginning of this month, this is not just something that we started speaking about at the beginning of this week, but this is something that we've been tracking for the past month. We did see that the June expirations, which is a quarterly expiration, also the bi-yearly expiration, was getting played absolutely astronomically, as you would expect. I mean, it's typically the same thing. I can't keep this on my head. It's too much. Bless you, sir. And bless you again, sir, but stop it. Anyways, looking at this right here, the $36,000 put strike was getting played up significantly, and that kind of gave us a bias coming into this week, especially once we saw that shoot up, that Bitcoin, while we might test some downside, it's more likely that we close somewhere around $36,000 at expiration. And guess what? We have expiration today in about 3 hours, I believe, if my internal clock is proper. And guess where we're at? We got about $500 away from $36,000. But basically, the idea is that put buyers get screwed, premium buyers, lottery ticket buyers essentially get screwed, and realistically, the people who are buying these puts anyways, who are actually professionals, they were using the hedge, very likely spot positions. So I really, really like this as as like a I don't know, how would I define this? I guess an underlying market dynamic as well. And so you can kind of see now, if you've been on this channel for the past month, of how this kind of comes to fruition over time. Now we do want to check in where this is going to be rolled to, because obviously once this month expires, those positions will very likely be handled somewhere else. And we can see that actually the September and December's are starting to get played a little bit more now. Next month, July's don't seem to be as important, but I am curious to see where people are posturing around at this exact moment, just to kind of have an understanding of it. And guess what? We do see the $40,000 and $45,000 call strikes getting played a little bit more significantly, as is the $25,000 put strike. I don't think that we have enough open interest on this just yet to make any sort of more in-depth analysis on it, but it would kind of play into the general analysis that I have, that while Bitcoin might get a move into the $40,000 territory, I don't have a strong opinion on that, but I do have a strong opinion on Bitcoin very likely not closing above $45,000 or even $50,000 for that matter by end of next month. I think that summer is going to be more or less a range between, again, about $31,000 and probably $45,000 to the upside on a closing basis. And that's where we hang out. And that's still the best thing for BULAs. I do actually sincerely believe that is the best thing for BULAs that can happen here. And generally, that would be a marker of long-term health. Call this what you want to call it. A lot of people have been kind of bringing up this very bizarre, it's not bizarre. It's actually a very good question. And we've been talking about it a lot as well. But, is this a bull market? Is this a bear market? It's a fucking pig market is what it is. Be a greedy pig. And realistically, do you have a 50% pullback in a bull market? I mean, you can't make that argument to me that it's just okay, you hold 50% down. Even 30% down sounds kind of ridiculous to me, even though on the macro scale things do continue to trend. So the way that I kind of resolve this conversation, even though no one really asked me about it right now, is look, I don't care what you define this as a market cycle. That's only relevant for very long-term investors, of which on this channel, to remind you, we are more or less traders here on on a shorter term time frame basis for the most part. I know that some people are investors as well, and hey, that's all well and good. Just understand where this content is coming from, the perspective of it. So with that said, I think it's time to let's get into some Bitcoin analysis over here. Whoops, did it again. And let's do the daily perusal. What are the 3 biggest things that I'm looking for to define a macro load? And do we have any of them right now? Well, to cut the story short, it is no, we do not. In fact, we do not have the blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator over here. A lot of people have been also bringing up some questions about the hash ribbons indicators, asking if because of the situation in China, is this will this be as relevant? I mean, we've always had situations with this in the past as well. If you recall way back, on over here, I mean, China did XYZ and that caused XYZ to happen, and power outages and shit like that. There's always been an excuse for it, but the results have been more or less the same. So I do still put a lot of weight on this, and guess what? We've not converged on these, we've actually diverged once again. So it's not happening anytime soon. I imagine around the next difficulty adjustment, we might have a bit of a change in behavior there to bring it back into parity, and perhaps even cross them back onto the BULA side. But until we get that blue buy signal, there is no talk of a macro low in for myself at all whatsoever. But if that were to happen, then yes, I do entertain the likelihood of a macro low in, as anytime that we have gotten a blue buy signal on this in the past, except for one iteration out of 11, there has been the prior daily low was essentially the low of that market. I mean, never goes lower essentially. So I do quite like that, and I do put a lot of weight on that. And if that is accompanied by the next piece of information, then I would feel very, very good about price action and that would be quite simply just putting in a higher low right now. Do we have a higher low on the daily? No, we do not. We have quite literally just, quite literally, we just have a low, and it technically is speaking a lower low. And I wouldn't expect Bitcoin to try to put in a higher low until it puts in a high first and foremost. So at some point, Bitcoin will come back down. Maybe it even is right now and scare the shit out of everyone. Maybe this even is the bull trap happening right here, perhaps. Although I would push back on that statement a little bit. I actually do not think so. I think Bitcoin trades a little bit of sideways and up, and generally, if that is going to be combined with the next piece of price action information that I want to be looking at, which is the BBWP coming down all the way to the very, 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 very low single digits especially, then I would be looking for expansion on another macro trend plus, daily trend, and then plus the hash ribbon. So we got fundamentals, we got trend structure, and then we got volatility as well. Of course, we can combine with many other things, but I do want to follow up on what we spoke about yesterday. We did confirm 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence coming off the lows on the daily, a rather powerful time frame, and multiple drives like that kind of made the call yesterday easy, looking for Bitcoin to get somewhere around 35 to 36,000 bucks. We did meet that target, and guess what? That can actually lead into the 2-day now, which is also building up its own 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence, and that will drive targets higher. Now, how would we confirm this as regular bullish divergence of the 3 drives variety? I'd want to see a close above last 2-day high would be extremely convincing, and yes, I would be looking at at a target of about 39,000 bucks after that, to be quite honest with you. If we do close anywhere above last what is this, 3-day? No, 2-day, last 2-day close, then I think it would be a little bit more shaky. I'd still probably have a natural bullish bias. Now, if we do close anywhere below about 33,500-ish region, that's where I start to say, okay, this looks a little bit nastier here. But for what it's worth, we are basing off the 200 exponential average on the 2-day, which is, naturally going to be a little bit of a buoying price action here. So I do like this. And again, it's like whether you're bullish or bearish on this price action, what's the most likely thing to happen at this $30,000 level? We're very likely to bounce here. It's the same thing kind of over here, whether you're bullish, bearish, you're probably looking for a pullback. And the week before that, we called this one rather well at the early June lows. We said, hey, whether you're the biggest bull, the biggest bear, you're probably looking for a bounce here regardless. So with that said, if you've been on this channel for especially like even the last month and a half and you've survived this, you should really give yourself a pat on the back. And I'm not saying that to, fucking stroke your ego. I sincerely mean that. This has not been an easy trading environment. This trap right here was very difficult. If you survive this one, fucking phenomenally done. This one over here, pretty damn good as well. This one over here, pretty fucking brutal as well. And of course we did have a couple more before that as well. So with all of that said, I do want to sincerely give anyone who survived all of that in an active trading metric, a lot of credit, because it is not easy to fucking do. And if you can do that, you probably have a pretty damn good future ahead of you, assuming that, you actually had like a strategy going into it and you didn't just like blindly get in and blindly get out, based off of more or less luck. So with that said, what are we looking at on the short-term timeframes now? Because we do have plenty to discuss there as we do follow up on our short-term timeframe ranges from yesterday. And what do you know? We did confirm that inverted head and shoulders from yesterday's shorts video right here. The measure move on that was about 35,000 bucks. We obviously hit that one as well. And based off of the taking out of the prior highs on 23rd of June, I did say that targets would very likely be extended somewhere around the blue box territory over here between about 36 and 36,500. We have obviously yet to get there just yet, or if that's an alliteration too much, but ultimately, I would still be looking at this as like a greater level. Short term, are we looking at a bit of a pullback here? I think that's obviously yes. I mean, we're seeing that right in front of our very eyes. And I want to bring this into the view once again as well. If you are Bula-ish here, I'm going to give you a reason why you should be on one side excited short term and more long term less excited. So what I'll do is I'll bring back on the Wyckoff accumulation schematic, which, to be fair, I do quite like Wyckoff, and seeing as we had a very obvious distributive top about 3 months, for 3 months, starting a few months ago, it is relevant to be looking for the accumulation phase to kind of resolve it on the other side. And guess what? Where would we be given this current price action? We'd be right after the spring. We'd be after the test that was yesterday. We'd be right around here actually. So we'd be essentially looking for a little bit of a short-term pullback into around yesterday's median of the range, and then very likely another markup. Well, it's technically not a markup in this case, but this next move to the upside around that 36 to 36,500-ish level. So what's most likely to happen right here? Pull back first, and then very likely another try to the upside if that is going to work out. Now, I did say that is not necessarily the that's not the full picture, obviously. Here's the thing: when you're talking about accumulation and distribution, in the way that I've learned it, you essentially want to see a relatively similar amount of time transpire between your distributive phase as is your accumulation phase. We saw the same thing. The best example would actually be back on over here in 2019. Bitcoin puts in a 3-month long descending triangle right here before breaking down. And then guess what? We put about a 3-month long ascending triangle right here before breaking to the upside. And these were macro moves, obviously, like a 50 to 60% move to the downside right here. And then a 4x off of 4,000 to 14,000 bucks, pretty much, or just under 4x a little bit later. So that is generally the disposition that I kind of run off of. And to be fair, when this did take about 3 months to distribute on the top, and we're looking at basically about a month and a half on the potential accumulation bottom here, is it relevant to be looking at this potential accumulation schematic as likely to resolve the market cycle and Bitcoin goes on to the moon and beyond after this? No, I don't think so, actually. It's more likely to, if it is going to break out, it's more likely to move into the mid, maybe even deep $40,000 territory, maybe even hit 50,000 bucks, reject from there, come back down into range, play out the rest of summer sideways, which I still do think is a long-term good thing. It's just you're going to see everyone, as we typically do, emotionally driven human beings, get extremely excited around the top side of the range and get extremely fearful around the bottom side of the range. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. You're always, or at least I always am going to feel like that. But it's just kind of identifying those feelings and then not going into the prior actions is kind of what is kind of how I resolve that. Anyways, as it is right now in the short-term time frame, let's go back right on over here. Let's see what we got going on as far as ranges go. Let's put back on our drawing tools right here. Okay, so we hit that target. Let's just get rid of that one. And right now, is this relevant for what I was speaking about? No, that was relevant for defining yesterday's high. But where would we be expecting the next sort of low to be set in if this is going to be quite literally another move up off of that Wyckoff accumulation schematic? You'd be looking for a move somewhere between about 34.3 and kind of like our breakout territory yesterday at about 33.7. I do remain more or less bullish on all time frames, barring a short-term time frame pullback. As long as we do remain above, I mean, you could say 33.7. I do think it'd be more appropriate to say 33, more like 33.3 in this case. I do think things look rather fine. And this right now, while it is a bit of a pullback, I think that's more or less fine as well. If we go over here to momentum oscillators, I want to see what we're looking like on the short-term time frames. We do see, oh, by the way, on the daily, turning back up, 34,200-ish region right here will magically turn the momentum back up and reject the bearish control zone. I do like that, but I want to go check out the lower term timeframes at this point. And yes, what do we see on the hourly? And by the way, the hourly Stokes have actually been incredibly accurate throughout the majority of this consolidation, funnily enough. As we've kind of always identified, there's usually like a cheat code on one of the Stoke timeframes, and they do change, obviously. We've seen the 10 hour, we've seen the 12 hour, we've seen the 3 hour at some points, and it seems right now, and especially during training times, we do see the hourly kind of take over. Anyways, hourly is going to be turning momentum back up with the closure above 35,000 bucks. That is obviously not right now, and does kind of play into the short-term pullback narrative. 2 hour is doing what? Is actually crossing down as well. 35,150 is magical number right there. So same sort of identification. 3 hour is basically in the midst of turning down. 34,500 is magical number, which we're actually right here at this almost exact moment. And the 4 hour, 34,750 is magical number. Now, those are only the short-term time frames. So again, short-term, do we have a bit of a pullback? I do think rather likely, but it's medium and higher term time frames that I'd be looking for to potentially carry on this rally to, well, the top side of the range. And if we are looking at the 12 hour, guess what? That remains the upside as long as above 30,500. Not bad. Daily, we already looked at this one. This one will cross the upside tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If we do close above 34,200, good. And the 2-day, which is closing tonight as well, yes, it is actually technically down right now. And we do see 37,250 about is the pivot right there. So that'd be a good counterpoint, as this would be a rejection of getting outside of the bearish control zone. So this would be a little more on the bear side. But I'm curious what the 3 and 5 days say, as these ones are going to kind of help cull in the rubber match here, as we do see a bit of bifurcation in the higher term time frames. And guess what? The 3-day, which is also closing. Oh no, it's not closing day. It's closing tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But guess what? This will remain to the upside after a little bit of give and go right here, as long as we close above about 32,000 bucks. And I really like this when you do see a bit of drama going on like this, where it kind of crosses in and out, and then has like a very conclusive exclusive move outside of that, those are typically extremely good moves. So it's not necessarily there just yet, but definitely a possibility. And then the 5-day, which just closed last night. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Magic Nil in the Discord for actually identifying that this was also kind of lining up with the weekly open. But this one actually did cross up, or is going to cross up on the next closure with any sort of a closure above 34,300-ish region, which we are pretty much at right now. And guess what? We did close, as we identified yesterday, the 5-day right around 35,000 bucks. So I do think that that does generally keep the Bulaw's hopes alive. And with all of these wicks below 35,000 bucks, you can really start to obviously identify the accumulation zone of the bigger accounts. By the way, you're probably wondering what I have going on right here. It's just like an EMA ribbon that I constructed and put on a few other major moving averages with, which should actually probably be very, very interesting. And perhaps I'll actually have something to show for that at some later date, but for right now I don't think it's ready just yet. Anyways, okay, cool. If we are looking at this ribbon, by the way, on the floor, it could actually be flipping right here right now. Just saying, just fucking saying. Anyways, okay, so what else did I want to get into before we move on? Yeah, let's go over here to the daily on our secondary charts. Is there anything of particular interest right here? We do see daily MACD threatening across the upside with any sort of a closure today above 34,500. Obviously we are right there right now, so Bitcoin can essentially maintain this on a closing basis by end of day. We will naturally see the short-term timeframes very likely reset a little bit, and the higher-term timeframes will set in a good base. Any sort of a daily closure, especially above 35,000 bucks, would be a lot more confidence-inducing to myself personally, but 34.5 would probably do it anyways, and we would see momentum oscillators turn up alongside essentially, you know, reclaiming the median of this range here between the $30,000 and $40,000 level. And at that point, you know, yes, I would probably be looking for another short-term pullback, bless you, sir, somewhere around about 36 to 36,500-ish region, but ultimately that would just be another short-term pullback before a continuation essentially to the top side of the range, and then we'd be looking at something like this, right? And can you make a measured move off of this? Well, you can actually make a measured move off this in my experience. It is essentially just the breadth of the range here. Now, I'm going to take a more conservative estimate on this, and where would that be? Again, this is making an assumption right here. We have not done this. This is very far away. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This only happens if, or this is only kind of the general bias if Bitcoin essentially takes out the high side of this current range, which is also synonymous with the 200 exponential average right here. And guess what? That would have a measure move right around about 49,000 bucks. That's a rather interesting target now, isn't it? Because that is right smack dab around your last major CME gap, actually coming in from 48,000 bucks, in fact. So if Bitcoin were to get there, I actually would be looking for a rejection. I do not think that Bitcoin is going to be trending on the macro scale anytime soon. And I think that the CME chart here, if anything, is a bearish retest actually still. So if you do want to be bearish, you're probably looking at this chart right here, and you're looking at a rejection of the 200 simple once again. And how would we kind of confirm this as a rejection? I'd want to see Bitcoin come back down and start to close at the very least 4-hour dildos below about 33,500. If that happens, yeah, we very likely do have another stint back down, maybe even another test back down below 30,000 bucks. And realistically, the next move back down below about 31,500-ish region, I don't think that we're going to see the $30,000 region again for quite some time if that's going to be the case on like a, you know, daily or weekly closing basis. For right now, if you're bullish, you are operating this as, you know, as a major trap low, and that is essentially driving the bias right now. So if you remember a couple days ago, going into this kind of test down around here, while the bias obviously was bearish because it kind of has to be when you're around those levels, we did say that, hey, there are several things that do suggest that this could very much be a trap, and those were confirmed. So I do run with the identification that this is a trap thus far, and if we do see CME close anywhere above the 200 simple today, which is pretty much around 35,000 bucks as well, then I'd feel very, 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 very confident at the very least calling a move back up to the 21 in this case. And by the way, we would be accompanied by 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence. In fact, I would even just say that in general here anyways. And we also do see the daily jewel on CME kind of swinging around for a potential lining up of an actual signal here. It's not there just yet. It's not going to happen. Well, it's obviously not going to happen over the weekend because it doesn't trade over the weekend, but could happen maybe sometime around mid next week. Remember, we had a signal kind of building on spot price action as well. You can see it start to kind of curl in here. If we get, you know, if we get like a $2,000 to $3,000 green dildo day today, then yes, I would be looking for this to essentially print a secondary kind of hodl year long signal built off of the prior one here, which admittedly would, I mean, you wouldn't have held that the whole way through. I mean, it did get the move from about 33,000 bucks to 40,000 bucks, but goddamn, then you cop it up the whole of the way. So realistically, it's kind of like a wait and see. We also see daily TSI looking like it perhaps could turn up as well. It's not quite there just yet, but 36,000 bucks would be the magical number on that one. And guess what? That is once again right around that next kind of blue box targeted range on the short and medium term timeframes. And also something of particular interest on the TSI here is that we have finally we have not broken the trend line. I thought that we had, but we have. Depends where. This is why I hate diagonals, and I don't put too much weight on this, but it is rather interesting. I would say that we are kind of basing off after a break of this. Doesn't always work like that, but we did have a bit of a falling channel right here. And for most formations, I actually don't really care about them on price action, especially these more like kind of ephemeral ones, which I don't think work out like very much at all in cryptocurrency land. But on indicators, I actually do find that they're a little bit more dependable. In this case right here, we would have a bit of a falling wedge. Typically those do get resolved to the upside, and this one, well, quite literally already would have. You're getting your retest today. So, short-term pullback plus continuation maybe this weekend or into next week would look pretty damn good. And by the way, I'm just keeping this this red smile here as well as just a proof of concept. I mean, we drew this in about 3-4 weeks ago, right around here. I still think that this is working, to be honest with you. A little bit more of an idea. And again, that is, in my opinion, the best case for boo laws coming into like the next month or two of price action here. The more sideways, the better, and the more that I could potentially get actually bullish. Now, if you are like macro bullish, right now I'm just kind of short-term, medium-term time frame bullish. Anyways, there's also something else that is really, really important to be discussing right here as well. And that is the fact that, technically speaking, we do have what would appear to be a head and shoulders on price action. Now, a head and shoulders is typically a reversal pattern, but it can just as easily be used as a continuation pattern as well. In fact, I find that it actually has a better hit rate as a continuation pattern obviously in the same side of the current trend. And in this case right here, how would you confirm this as a failure and likely to move the other way? You'd essentially want to see a move above what would be your current right shoulder, and that would be your about $40,000 to $41,000 level right here. If that were to happen, technically speaking, you can make a measure move on this. I guess I've already done it right there, and it would be pointed up towards about 69 or 70,000 bucks essentially. But that would very likely happen over time, and I do express great reservation once again in this blue box territory over here, not just because it's a CME gap that we absolutely shattered about a month ago or a month and a half ago, but also it would be around it'd be right around your 618 and 0.5 Fibonacci retracements on a bearish retracement estimate right here, and that is typically where you do get a bit of a bull trap. Now, if we were to head up there and reject from there, again, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world for boo laws at this point is breaking back down below about 31,500 bucks right here. If Bitcoin were to come up here, reject, and come back down into range, I'd still look at that as more or less playing out the sideways summer market. And again, I think that is generally speaking the best thing for Bitcoin boo laws. If you want to be bullish on Bitcoin, you're looking for more sideways, more accumulation is good. It would indicate health. I don't know. Do I want to finish that sentence? Maybe not. How about not? All right, cool. Is there anything that I want to talk about before we get into some comments? Maybe we want to talk about traditional markets. Yeah, let's go talk about traditional markets right now. Is my thingy saving? Hold on. Let me just double check over here. I want to see that my timestamps are working. Timestamps? Yes, they are working. Okay, cool. All right, so let's try this one more time. Traditional market analysis coming up. We are going to go check out NASDAQ as per usual. And what do we have? Do we have new all-time highs from yesterday? Yes, we do have new all-time highs from yesterday. Is this thing likely to make new all-time highs today? Yes, it is likely to make new all-time highs today. It's still looking good. I don't have anything bearish to say about this. Yes, it's a fucking ridiculous chart. It looks just like it looks just as ridiculous as Bitcoin at around 60,000 bucks. But at the end of the day, while this will very likely have a massive and probably like 10 to 20% corrective move over time, I don't necessarily think that is here just yet. It will happen at some point, obviously, but we are starting to hit our first sort of targeted regions after that last big breakout out of the $14,000 resistance and the prior base, and that would be right around here. God damn it, I can't pull it out. Let me just do a little bit of that. There we go. We're right at the 1.272, a little bit of a pullback from there. And then ultimately I'd be looking for this one to create a short-term range somewhat between about 14.5 and 14.350, of which we're just testing the bottom side of this. So typically speaking, you will pop up to the 414, play within a range, consolidate. And do I think that long-term this thing hits 15,000 bucks before playing out, a major corrective move? Probably yes. And at that point, I probably would be looking for, a potential crash situation. That's where I'd start to be looking at it. So I know that people like Michael Burry or Michael Burry are kind of calling the mother of all bubbles here, even bigger than 2008. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. That's not for me to care about or count on, to be honest with you. Just a simple trader over here. I don't really follow the macro situation because I am too simple-minded for that. But in this case, would that kind of line up with potentially his timeline? Perhaps yes. Perhaps it does. But ultimately, Still looking good here. Again, coming into the weekly close, we are, I mean, unless if we close today below about 14,100, I just don't have anything like super bearish to say about this. In fact, this just looks like another healthy consolidation at a high level, just stair stepping its way up. Very constructive price action there. So I remain, I guess, bullish on this. SPY futures, same thing as well, but not as strong here. Certainly not following it as much. And what do we see? We do see that it closed on new all-time highs as well as we did say it was like the yesterday. Could it have a small pullback? Yeah, it could easily have a small pullback to 4250-ish region. That's no problem to me. I generally remain bullish on this one coming in next week. We do have a bullish engulfing weekly dildo right here. So while I was looking for a little bit of downside to start off this week, we barely got it. I mean, I'd say that was a complete fucking failure of a call. And instead we get a bullish engulfing on the other side. NASDAQ leads, SPY follows, and Dow Jones is the laggard within this market. But as you can see, it's almost in danger of or maybe not danger, but it's almost in the vicinity of putting in its own bullish engulfing dildo on a weekly, a rather powerful time frame. So if that's going to happen, we're looking at another melt up phase for a little bit of time. Again, I know that this looks absolutely crazy and we are going to see a corrective move at some point, but I don't think it's just yet. I mean, the monthly is absolutely fucking powerful right there. And we do have another 5 days left to go. So maybe a little bit too early to be judging this one, but it is within the cards. Anyways, what else do we want to be looking at? Is that it? Do we want to look at Dixie? Yeah, let's look at some Dixie analysis over here. All right, Dixie time. Let's see what the dollar index is doing for this exact moment. Where are you, Dixie? There you are. 91.75, it looks like. So we are coughing up the rally. It looks like the reversal is in progress here. Actually, now that I zero in on the daily, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's there just yet, but I do start to see obvious signs of weakness right here. Now I do want to see also where are we on a bearish retracement on this. Very interesting, right? Very interesting. Let's also pull this from the wicks. Okay. Yeah, we'd be right around the 618 in this case. On the weekly, I imagine, and that would be potentially speaking your bull trap area. So you do see kind of in motion right here. I'm not so confident to say though that this one is definitely put in a high just yet. I think it's starting to show some signs of putting in a high right here, but ultimately I wouldn't mind if it does have another try to the upside, like 92 1/3 to 92.50-ish region. As long as it's lower than $93, this is yet again another lower high on the macro scale. And because we are closing a monthly and quarterly relatively soon, how would this start to look like? I mean, it still does look a little like it could be a little bit of a bottom here, so I wouldn't necessarily get full on bearish just yet. There is one obvious indication, however, if we do close below the purple 200 exponential average, which is very far away from price action right now, to be fair, but right below $91, then yes, I would be looking at this one as likely to keel on over coming into the end of this year and initiate targets down into the mid or upper $80 region. But for right now, still kind of holding in there, so that is a little bit of a wild card. And again, I do want to say that just because Dixie could be rallying does not mean that I'm going to be inherently bearish on Bitcoin, for example. I mean, anyone with fucking eyes can tell you already that from 2020 right here, actually, that would be a bad example. But, from December 2020, which was Bitcoin at around, $19,000 to, of course, March, April of 2021, we saw this go up alongside Bitcoin, essentially putting in this parabolic, blow off top as well. And then what happens after that? They both come down together as well. Rather interesting, right? So I don't think it's a one-to-one relationship. I think it's interesting to be aware of. But remember, the Dixie is the dollar index, and it's being indexed against a basket of other currencies, not against like itself in that way. Like it's a dollar strength relative to other currencies. So it depends what other countries are doing as well. And that's I think that's a thing that a lot of people kind of miss in analysizing that. It does matter, yes, and on the macro scale we do see a pretty obvious relationship between it. But other than that, I do think that I do think that saying or putting too much focus on it is not going to be all that helpful. Should we also go look at let's go look at I want to go look at Ethereum now as well. We can make this one a little bit of a mainstay of the current analysis. And what do we have? Definitely not as strong here. I certainly am not a lot less enamored with Ethereum over Bitcoin, and it does certainly make me consider that we might have a bull trap a little bit sooner than what I think I might be expecting here. But ultimately, as long as this thing's below the 21 on the weekly, I do not like it. Now, of course, we do have another 3 days left to go on to Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time closure. And if this does close above, especially the 21 in this case, which is right around about 2150-ish region, not too far away from price action, but still, a decent amount away for the current time being. I think it's certainly more than a 10% move. If we were to regain that would look pretty damn good for just putting in a nice accumulation phase right around the low 2000s. But for right now, it is certainly a lot more under pressure. And I do kind of struggle with this one here. Again, if you do want to be bearish, you're probably looking at most altcoins because they are not looking as hot as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently soaking them up on the larger scales, and we see a little bit of resistance right here already at the 200 exponential average. And typically when you play between the 200s, this being the 200 exponential and this being the 200 simple, usually not a sign of strength in my experience, especially when they're converging on each other too. So on all Bitcoin upside moves, I'd imagine that this one is not going to benefit as much, and on the downside moves is going to get hit a little bit harder as we do see it kind of soak it up in terms of dominance here. Going down to the short-term timeframes, what do we have? I mean, again, we do have a little bit of a higher low similar to Bitcoin, but certainly not as strong as you can see. And if this one even takes out the higher low at about 1900, there's not going to be too many good things to say about this. Yeah, you might see another bounce somewhere around the current 4-hour low, which is about 1850-ish region, but not a sign of fucking strength right there, to be honest with you. And realistically, if you do want to be bullish on pretty much anything within this market, you're expecting kind of a short-term pullback right now, which we're seeing on Bitcoin, I believe. And then you want to see generally just kind of stair steps way up from there. So I really do not want to see if this is going to remain more short-term, medium-term bullish. I really do not want to see this one, especially take out the last higher low for Ethereum. For Bitcoin, that would be, more or less around your like 33,500-ish level, I'd say. It's kind of the one that you really don't want to see taken out, but fair enough. For now, I do like this structure. I do like this very constructive price action, especially on the lower term timeframes. Whenever you see something like this is actually a really good thing to memorize right here. When you see something like this, where you have these nice sort of, you have this like first impulse move right here in a trappy behavior as well, and then you come back down and you kind of fill those major areas. When we were speaking yesterday, we were right around here and we said, look, if you're going to be bullish, this is the last stop right here, but this would be it, and that was correct. And you're seeing the same thing right after that. Pop up, come back down, fill, pop back up, come back down, fill your prior consolidation. I think that we're seeing the same thing right here as well. So ultimately, I do remain, somewhat more or less short-term, like extremely short-term, a little bit of pullback, and then probably keep with the stair-stepping behavior right here after a bit of a reset of the short-term time frame momentum oscillators. Even have a little bit of bearish divergence on the hourly here, but I think that we've already played out the easy move of that down to the 21. I mean, that is admittedly like a more than $1,000 move based off an hourly signal, and not even like a very powerful one at that. So it is only 2 drives against the current trend and not in a very high posturing. So typically speaking, those don't have too much on them, but that one's already played out for more than $1,000, which is more than what I would have expected on that. Is there anything else that I want to be speaking about? Maybe gold really quick. Do we want to look at gold? Yeah, let's look at some gold action as well. I kind of want to make this a mainstay for my man, Mr. Nimbo. We got 1780 right here. It's looking like it's putting in a little bit of a short-term base right now. Are we going to get that move down to the 1730-ish region? I'm not so confident on that. Again, the kind of general analysis on this one has always been anywhere between about 1750 and 1730 is where I'd be looking for a potential major low here. And we did get down to about 1750. So you could make the argument that we've already seen it. Generally speaking, I do like the higher time frame still. I don't have a major issue with this. Now, of course, we do still have another 5 days, 6 days left until closure here. But if we, as long as we close, especially anywhere above 1800, that would look pretty damn good to me for potential continuation coming in. Maybe not this next quarter, like quarter 3, but probably end of year. To reference that, we got the quarterly right here, and yeah, it would look like a nice base, and then you could essentially be using the open of this current quarterly dildo as a major pivot point on the market, meaning that if we do come back down below it, this rally is going to get coughed up for quite some time and come back down very likely to like 1500 or so, with stops along the way, of course. But until that happens, I look at this as a mega consolidation after a macro breakout. And because gold is so much more established than Bitcoin, meaning that it has about 10 times the market cap, there's just it's going to move slower. It's going to move like molasses. I mean, this thing's been around since the fucking dawn of time, so obviously it's going to be a more mature market. You would expect that. It's very, very relevant. Okay, so I think I got through everything that I want to speak about there. Maybe we check out CME just really, really quickly. I'm curious if there's anything different here that's not shown on spot price action. Not really, no. Yeah, I wouldn't really say so. I'm curious what the lower term timeframes BBWP are saying. Yeah, we're getting down there on the hourly, but not quite there just yet. By hourly, what do we see that? Yeah, we do see the same thing on spot price action as well. Is kind of curling down a little bit. 3 hour is expanding. 4 hour is not doing much of anything. All right, so very interesting. Again, a little bit of sideways here, and then probably grind its way up if you do want to be bullish. Okay, cool. Has Elsa been collecting all of the chats? I think she has. Okay, let's see what we got going on right over here. Robin Morris says, Bulkowski says, measured move on inverted clickbait is 87% moon. I'm fucking in, baby. I'm fucking in. You're fucking out, just like Kenny Powers. But should we go reference the moon phases today? I won't even look at the moon phases. Nimbo brought up a really good point the other day that the moon phases Yes, you are sending them to me. Oh, Pedro's gonna send them. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Yeah, the moon phases I do believe are more or less working out here, as Nimble kind of pointed out, because they're just naturally lining up with kind of like the end of the month, which a lot of the time you do see, big pivots on price action around there, similar to the reasons that we spoke about earlier, but sometimes on a larger scale, and that would be major expirations for the most part. But I mean, to be fair, it does time it rather well. So it's been working relatively well over here, but they do change time after time, and we have seen in the past that it's not been as good over here. It's certainly not been as good. It's been okay, but I wouldn't say that the results were as good. Now, this fib time extension over here, I do think is rather interesting because we are about to hit the next major area, which is actually basically today or tomorrow. You can see that it's gotten the highs pretty damn well thus far. We got the February high right here, the March high, or the middle March high right there, middle of April high right there, and early May high right here. And then kind of got this pivot right here about a day or two too early. We're kind of looking at this one right now as well. And that, technically speaking, all of these have come to the downside. So, take that as you will. But at some point, I would be expecting a reversal of that behavior. Does it happen here? I don't know. So something to keep an eye on. But again, not a primary tool of my analysis, more like a tertiary, if you will. Further back there. All right, bots for the win says here before Scott, moon phase Bitcoin 4 hour. Moon phase Bitcoin. Is that an actual ticker? Probably not. I'm curious. I'm getting trolled. God damn it. We just spoke about the moon phases anyway, so I think that solidifies that. But let me know if I'm wrong. Hey, what's up, Matthew Rusthoven? Krown, need some random TA guidance regarding momentum. If stock RSI and stochastics RSI and MACD are flashing opposite indicators, which you generally trust. Okay, so this is a really good topic. I need to mark this down. We have an interesting comment here. Okay, so the question is, if I'm using a bunch of different indicators, in this case, this person here, Mr. Matthew, has given the example of stochastics, RSI, and MACD, and if they are opposing each other in terms of indications, what do you do? What do you trust? Here's what I'd say to this. You're doing it wrong to begin with. And I don't say that as like a mean thing, but understand that when you're using indicators, you really want to separate and you really want to minimize how many you use, at least in my experience. I really do not know many successful traders who use more than, especially 5, but even 3. And typically the best traders that I know use less and less, and they can pretty much almost tell what the indicator is going to say anyways by just looking at, current price action. They don't need to see much more than that. Anyways, when you are thinking in terms of indicators, and again, I'd really suggest no more than 3. I think I have seen 5 being able to be done, but I don't think it adds too much to it, to be honest with you. But if you are going to go with the identification of 3, look, you don't need 3 fucking momentum oscillators, for the love of God. Understand what you're trying to do. If you're trying to capture more kind of like short-term scalpy movements, probably stochastic is going to be a little bit better for that. If you're trying to find a little bit better like long-term momentum in comparison to that, then your MACD is probably going to be a little bit better than that. RSI I only use for momentum, technically it is momentum, but for divergence plays anyways, both the hidden and regular variety. And to be quite honest with you, if you're going to be trading, understand first what you're trying to do and then backwards engineer it. You don't need 3 fucking momentum oscillators. They all have their specific kind of niche of what they're going to be better at in comparison to the other one. You don't need to use all fucking 3. And it's no surprise that they do sometimes disagree with each other, as they naturally will. Understand that on these videos, and I want to be so damn clear with this, on these videos, I'm looking at a shit ton of different indicators. That is not the way that I trade at all whatsoever fucking ever. I trade with 3 indicators at most. I have a momentum oscillator. I have essentially something for price action and structure, and then I have something that's based off of volatility, and that's all that I do for right now. What do I do? I go off of price action structure, I do RSI, and then I do volatility, which is mediated by the BBWP down here, and that's all that I need. Sometimes I'll include the Joule too, but it doesn't give off signals too often, so I will respect them when I see them, but they don't happen enough for me to be basing like bigger trades off of. Especially when things go sideways for a long period of time. So to answer your question directly, once again, just choose one, man. Understand what you're trying to do. Are you trying to be a more short-term scalper in a range? Probably stochastic can be a better one if you are limited to those 3. Maybe there's even a better one than that, and maybe that's not even a strategy to begin with. Maybe none of these are relevant to you. That's something to consider. Maybe you're more of a swing trader. Do you want to be looking at any of these? Probably not. I mean, maybe MACD, if you're going to be a swing trader, it's going to be okay, but even that, there's probably better things for that. I mean, if you want to be a swing trader, I'd probably just go with moving averages, but that's not going to be a momentum oscillator anyways. But I don't know, the classic setup would be like moving averages, MACD, and in volatility or something like that, and pretty damn good. So again, define what kind of trader you're going to be, or what you can be adherent to over a long period of time. Backwards engineer, and then select your indicators. So it seems like we have a little bit of analysis paralysis, which honestly is one of the things that I actually very much regret about my programs. So in my programs, I just throw a buffet of indicators at the beginning, and in hindsight, it is explained within the program, like, look, don't fucking do more than 3, like even less is better, like start off with 1. But in hindsight, it would have been better if I literally just picked out 3 and just said this is it. But of course, there is more to that, and you do want to have more variables with it. Understand though, on these videos, this is not the way that I fucking trade. This is just for pure YouTube analysis. I don't need to know about the fucking moon cycles in order to take an hourly scalp, for example. I don't need to know about like, are we in a golden cross or death cross if I'm going to be trading the 5-minute, for example. It doesn't fucking matter. Or I mean, it does matter. Obviously, it has implications with it, but it's not the most pertinent thing. It's just going to be more or less noise. It's going to confuse you more. And realistically, you're always going to find an indicator. You're always going to find a time frame. You're always going to find a period or a setting that's going to give you a signal that confirms or denies your current view. Stick with one, standardize, and that's when the statistics will work for you. If you can backwards engineer that, then put it into a trading plan, and then back test that so that where what your expected percentages for wins and losses, and also the amount for that will be, then you can actually have a goddamn plan. But it requires you to actually simplify, and this is where I think a lot of people get really run up with. They think more indicators is better because that's kind of what we're taught, right? More is better, right? That's or at least for us Americans out there, more is better, right? You go to McDonald's, you gotta fucking supersize me, bitch, shit like that. And realistically, it's not in trading. Trading is a game of of deduction, in my experience. It's a game of deduction. So hopefully that helps in some way. What's up, Scott Carney? There he is, right on time. ALYI is not 0.33 possible. It's you always ask the same questions, man. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Okay, you're calling like a fucking 6x move from here. I don't think it's like. Is it probable? I mean, well, this actually is a decent chart right here for the time being. Like, by what time frame, sir? Look, not anytime fucking soon, man. That's all the way up here. Are you kidding me? God damn it, Scott. God damn it, Scott. What the fuck? Look. Here's what I'd be, I would be looking generally around the 20-cent region, but all you're doing is consolidation right here, and it's probably going to spend some more time within this. I wouldn't be surprised to see this still within this box between about, 3.5 cent low and about 7 cent high for the next few months, man. It's not happening today, if that's what you're asking. If you're trying to make rent, probably not happening today. Over a long period of time, maybe like a year or two down the road, perhaps yes. I mean, this is a good reversal off the lows, and where would I start to be looking for price action like that to transpire? I'd want to see a weekly closure, actually not above 7 cent, but above about 8 cent, we'll call it. Above there, yeah, you could probably look towards 18, 20 cents. 33 cents, I mean, I don't know where the fuck am I getting this blue box from? That is not where it should be. Yeah, it should be more like right around here. Yeah, I'd be looking towards like 13.5 to 17 cent, man. I don't know where the fuck you're getting that from, but why 33 cent is a real question. I always feel like that's like I need to make rent question. All right, Chad Moss says, Sean Kulalo, Fur, Mr. B-Day Wish, and well wishes to his right testy. Oh, well, Mr. Kulolo Fur, I'd like to wish you a happy left testicle day, sir. I hope that it's rocking well and good right now. Hashtag ref time. Please tell him his half sack will be all right one more time. Your half sack will be 100% right, just your other half sack will not be good. So hopefully you can collect your one nut in a jar and then worship it over time, because I think that's. I would also like to wish a happy midsummer from Elsa to your sack as well. Hopefully your nuts stay safe, sir. Hambone Crypt says, I did not survive. You did not survive what? Sir, you're here right now. You're breathing. What are you talking about? You're alive. Double R says, I only lost most of my money, not all of it. That is a start. Losing less is what happens before you stop losing in general. I mean, there's never going to be a situation where you just don't lose anything, right? But at the end of the day, it's a progressive sort of thing. So it's something to work off of, and still that I do think is commendable anyways. Because if you're newer to this game, if you've been in this game for like a year or two as a trader, you can still kind of consider yourself more or less new. And if you're just surviving, that is more or less a win. You know, the more experience that you get is going to just make you better and better over time. Tilo G says, hey Krown, started using the BBWP, but if you don't, if you don't use the daily, the settings are too slow IMO. Actually, if you listen to my video, I gave you the settings that I use. So that would be it's actually very funny that you're basically rediscovering what I have already told you. Can you suggest faster settings, especially from 1 to 12 hour? I don't know, man. Maybe the same ones I showed on the video right here. I'm using a 13 length, 255 look back, and for the moving average, which isn't as important, I'm using a 16 SMA. So there you go. There you go. By the way, 4-hour Jewel is actually giving a little bit of a continuation signal there too. Not bad. Although, have we already played that one out a good amount? It did get that last $1,500 move, so fair enough. All right. Hey, what's up, Sebastian? Got a new one for you. CI weekly monthly. Okay, what is this? What could this be? CI weekly monthly. Cigna. Okay, yeah, that's they're like a health insurance, I believe. I think I actually had them for a time. Looks to me like it's going to try to put in a higher low right here. I would be expecting something resembling like bullish divergence come off the low if it is going to work out like that. We don't see it just yet, but it will take some time. What does weekly look like? Weekly looks like a long-term uptrend. I like this. You're very good at picking the long-term uptrends here. I do think you're going to be trading a little bit sideways and probably a little bit of downside, maybe back down somewhere around like 225 or so. But ultimately, I want to be very clear. Like a lot of the charts that you send me, I do like it long-term. I actually do like it long-term. And let's see what actually, I'm curious what the quarterly looks like here. A little bit choppy there to be fair, but still another 5 days left to go. What about a monthly? Monthly, I just look at this as a pullback here. I don't really see anything too bad about it as long as it's above about 220, especially on a higher term time frame closure. Weekly, monthly, all higher term time frames are on uptrends. So I do more or less look at this as a bit of a sideways and kind of stair step its way up long term. But very likely next move is actually to the downside, I would say. Looking at daily once again, yeah, it's going to try to sit in a base here anywhere around the 200, which is about 225. I'd be looking for potentially another higher low. I do like this price action right here for kind of trying to slow down and putting a bit of a low, but we still have a bit of work to do. So it would be a lot more obvious if it was printing some drives of bullish divergence off the low, but it's not just yet. If we go down to like very low term time frames, yeah, it's gonna try here, but I would not say that this is like a confirmed higher low until you get back above, let's call it about 240.5. That would start to look pretty decent, at least for the short-term timeframes, and I'd be looking for another move back up towards 250, 255 region, and then I'd want to see like the monthly closure and just see if we're in a good posture for continuation coming into the rest of this year. But for right now, yeah, I mean, this I'm never gonna hate a chart that looks like this. It's like the opposite of your regular shitcoin chart, right? I mean, this thing's just been in a macro uptrend ever since 82. You know, this one survived even the 87 crash right here. It looks like they didn't even get hit all that hard, all things considered. Sir, are you okay over there? Elsa's having a good time right now. All right, are we having some interesting comments today? Is that what's going on? All right, let's see what Frozen's got. Okay, let me see where I left off. We just had Sebastian. Okay, well, fair enough. Internet, sir, it gets confusing sometimes. Mario, I do appreciate the understanding though. It does seem like we have a pretty reasonable and like aware community here, which is honestly the like the best thing ever, because I look around some of the other YouTuber communities and it's like, how the fuck are you getting dressed in the morning, sir? What the hell? It's very, very interesting stuff. We should actually do a video one day. This would be terribly toxic, and honestly, I would not do this, but it would be a hilarious video to just like go through the comments of big YouTuber videos. All right, Mr. Pedro, what do you got for me? Mario says, hey, Krown, you were saying the traditional markets will have a 10 to 20% correction, but my question is, how could that be if the dollar goes down macro? Again, they are not directly related to each other. Okay, so there are multiple things wrong with this. Dixie again is related to other fiat currencies, so it's not necessarily saying whether the dollar is like gaining versus assets. It's gaining versus other fiat currencies. If the U.S. prints more dollars and inflation goes up, what typically happens to the prices of assets like stocks? They go up as well, of course. And also, we have not confirmed a breakdown in Dixie just yet either. And also, I'm not saying that there's going to be a 10 to 20% correction in the stock market like this fucking second. I don't know how. Oh, goddamn. Sorry, man. This is not directed towards you. Just my internal frustrations. Perhaps I'm not speaking as clearly as I should be. You always have to. What? I am on my period, as Elsa says, but no, man. It's I know that I can struggle with that. I know that I could probably do a better job with it. Anyways. Am I calling a 10 to 20% correction on traditional markets right now? No, I'm literally calling more continuation. I hope that is as clear as fucking possible. I do think there's more continuation. Maybe around 15,000 bucks NASDAQ is where it starts to be a little bit more on edge. So fair enough. Robert Deroux says, hey, Krown, could you please look at Sol USDT, Binance Daily, please? Sure. All right, Sol, this was one of the better actors in this past cycle. Let's see how it's holding up right now. And hey, not bad on the short-term timeframes, just coming back and filling. Nice little stair-stepping action right here. Ascending triangle perhaps in the making. But what timeframes are you looking at? You're looking at daily. Okay, let's go to the daily. Yeah, actually having one of the better bounces, I would say. All things considered, this one's bounced significantly, in fact. Let's see. Oh my God, 67%. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? A little bit of short-term resistance here, obviously, but you got a very obvious continuation point as well, basically above this wick high structure here. And naturally speaking, if Bitcoin does reach up towards 36 to 36,500-ish region, I'd be looking somewhere around about 36 to 37 bucks on this one. And this one is one of the better actors, so I would give it the benefit of the doubt. Weekly's back above 21 in this case, and just a massive wick like that is typically a good signal. You know, we do see people that are, obviously willing to step in this case, and this is, in fact, this one didn't even create a lower low, which is incredibly interesting to me too. Could we be doing something like this long term? Perhaps yes. Perhaps yes. This would be the bullish view on it, and you'd be expecting your higher lows to come in somewhere around here as this does rise up over time. And short term, probably more or less similar price action to Bitcoin, and I'd be looking for the big breakout back above this sort of level right here at about 42 and a quarter or so. See what it's yeah, the weekly's pretty much there too, but I just raised this up for the daily because it's a little more obvious right here. There we go, 42. But basically, sideways consolidation on the higher term timeframes. Can that come with some moves to the upside and the downside? Obviously, yes. But more or less going to mirror what Bitcoin does. So whatever I said for Bitcoin is going to more or less apply to this one. But this one's going to be better to the upside. It looks like it's actually getting a lot of interest. It's very, 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 very good chart, all things considered. Mitchell L, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Can you take a look at Quant USD on Bittrex for daily and 4 hour? Okay, so this one was also a very good actor yesterday, and I think just in the past couple months as well, if memory serves me properly. Yeah, it is. Hey, not bad. Looks like we did hit our next 89.5-cent target right here. So where do we go from there? Do we play a bit of sideways after that or not? Let's go to the 4 hour time frame in this case. No, I do think that this one's going to very likely continue from this region. Maybe a short-term pullback back down to 70.5, but that's not what I'm concerned with. Now, what time frames were you asking about? 4 hour and daily. Okay, so this would be your 4 hour. 4 hours, a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of sideways and down, but ultimately on the daily, I probably still like this. I'd like to see the daily today close above 84 bucks. If that would happen, I'd generally be looking over the next couple of weeks for this one to march up towards about 100 bucks. That's going to be your big area. Anywhere around here in the low 100s, I'd be cognizant of potential top going in, but this one deserves a lot of respect, man. This is an altcoin that has been more or less macro up, has not gotten hit as hard as the rest of the market on the downside moves. Yes, it is a little more sloppy, but as far as the weekly goes, am I bearish on this? Absolutely fucking not. No. Monthly, even less so. So I generally favor long-term continuation. Short-term might be a little bit of sideways and down. But this one seems probably the least coupled up with Bitcoin price action. And if anything, if Bitcoin goes up, I think that one's going to be a big beneficiary as well, similar to the last one that we looked at, but that one even more so. Hey, what's up, Legend Ali Z's? I've been 5 for 5 predicting earnings, but every time those stocks went nowhere. Yeah, playing earnings is a fucking silly game, sir. You're starting to learn why I never fucking play that. You can play the moves after the earnings. Those typically give you some obvious shit, but look, man, when you're talking about earnings, the market makers are going to be pricing their options, which I know that you're playing, in very, very sophisticated models that are typically going to absolutely eat up the premium around the actual, event, in my experience. Okay, anyway, so to go on with your message, you said, so I decided against playing Nike's earnings yesterday, and now it's up 10% after hours. How would you play the gap on daily, weekly? How would I play the gap on daily, weekly on Nike? Okay, let's go to daily. Let's first see where the gap is. Where is the gap, sir? Where's the gap? I don't see a gap. Or you're saying that it's going to gap up 10%. Look, the problem is with playing aftermarket earnings is that a lot of the time it's just gonna be a lot of floating, flighty price action. So while it might be trading, or it might have, it might be trading like 136, I guess. Or sorry, it's up 10%. Let's see, where would that be? Okay. Oh, wow. It's going to be up a lot. Holy shit. How would I play the gap? I'd probably be looking for it to come back down somewhere around the last major levels. The last major levels would be right around here, somewhere right around 130 to 140-ish region. Probably look for a bounce there. And that actually would be right around your last major highs. In fact, this is actually very, very good right here. You do see a long form consolidation. I remember we identified this one yesterday. You asked about this one yesterday, didn't you? We were looking at something like this. It's got some sort of a, some sort of a typically bullish resolve pattern going on right here. And it looks like on earnings, it's going to take that leg up. So that's actually a good fundamentally driven breakout in this case. So I do like that. And these typically do get respected, and they very unlikely will fill the gap from yesterday's open or close in this case, which is all the way down to about 135 or so. I'd probably be looking at most maybe like 139, 140-ish region. And if the breakout is real, I would not expect it to go lower than that. So that'd be pretty damn good. But the classic play that I would do on earnings times is I would not play the day of earnings on that stock. I'd wait until the day after, and then if the earnings were good and it had like a markup into into the actual earnings event, I'd actually just short it for the most part. And usually you can play out a nice move back down and have a pretty easy scalp. But I don't know if that's exactly what you're trying to do. The 4-hour trader says, sir, can you check out Aussie dollar USD weekly and quarterly? But you're the 4-hour trader, sir. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? All right, we'll look at let's see, what's my hotkey here? Is it number 6? It is number 6. Okay, we shall look at Aussie dollar US dollar. So AUD USD. There we go. Let's go to ONADA. And what do we have here? We have too many trend lines is what we have. All right, let's see. And you are looking at what? Weekly and quarterly. Okay, so not the 4-hour trader today. Looks to me like it's trying to put in a nice base right here. Yes, we do have a golden cross on the weekly. And we do have a macro lower high in progress as well. So am I looking for another move up after this, or am I looking for this one to print a major high? I mean, you do kind of have to be looking at this as potential major high right here, but there are a few good things going on the monthly, or sorry, you said quarterly, and let's go to the quarterly. Quarterly is hard to hate as long as you're above the 21 in this case. I do look at that as a base. So while this did actually initially sell off from that prior retest of your prior highs in this case, this would actually be a pretty damn good signature right here. Now, I would not blindly say that it's destined to break out to the upside after that, but you have a pretty obvious way to be basing any sort of a trade off of if this closes something like this, which I imagine it probably will, at around 76 cents or so. Above this quarterly high doji, you're looking for continuation, a big move towards like 81.7, maybe even 82 cents, maybe even it leads up long term. By the same token, to the downside, I'd be looking for it to immediately cough up a gigantic portion of this rally down to about 71 cents and probably carry on with the macro downtrend after that. So it's not necessarily that I'd be playing something right here. I'd actually be waiting for the quarterly to close and then perhaps choose a trade after that. But for right now, you kind of have to respect the weekly. It does have an uptrend going on here. We do have several bearish things going on here as well, though. We have volatility starting to expand alongside momentum also just pointing downwards. TSI down, weekly Jules giving a sell signal right here. Has that one already played out? The easy portion, the first move, that one's already played out, certainly. I mean, that was a 4.5% move in Forex, which is rather aggressive. But the other obvious way to get bearish on this one too would just be any sort of a move below about 73 cents, I would say. The 200s there on the weekly are going to be pretty damn powerful for the long term on this one. So if this one is going to essentially continue on long term, you'd expect that level to be protected. On the daily, this one looks like it wants to have a little bit of a short term move to the upside, like 76.4 region. It does look a little bit more poised on the short term timeframes for some upside. Higher term timeframes though offer a slightly different picture. They say hold your horses for a second here, and perhaps we might actually have a major opportunity coming into like this monthly closure, but not necessarily just yet. All right, Jack Assman, what's up, man? Yes, let's look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, daily and weekly. Fuck yeah, we definitely need to do this one. The big altcoin index. Okay, so we did get the move down. We did not get the higher low that I was looking for right around here. Obviously, that was completely faded, and now we're in a bit of a free fall mode right now. So where does this thing come down to? I would be looking generally somewhere around the weekly 21 here. And what time frames did you ask about? Yeah, you asked about daily and weekly. But again, long term, I do not hate this chart. This is a very good chart long term. The monthly is just a pullback, bro. I mean, it's a fucking aggressive pullback, but it is a pullback indeed. As long and I do remain more or less long term bullish on this one as long as it's above, especially last or a couple months ago's high, which is about 5.3 million. But does that mean that we come back down to the 21 here? Actually, guess where that is? Right around that level. So I'd probably be looking for a move down there and a bounce around there. And you'd expect the bounce to be rather aggressive if this one is going to continue with its long-term uptrend here, which we have on the weekly. Golden cross right here. Weekly's in an uptrend as well, breaking above your prior accumulation zone. Typically speaking, I do like this. So with a big fundamental event coming up, I believe in July, this coming month, with EIP 1559, perhaps that could be a catalyst coming into the event. But typically speaking, with these things, it is typical that we do see a buy the rumor, sell the news. So you'll probably see a run up into that event and then pull back after it, if I had to guess. But in this case right here, I still do like the long term actually a lot. But short term, do we pull back a little bit more? It's actually looking a little bit likely, but how much more can we go? Yeah, maybe down to like 5.2 or 5.3 million Satoshis. Not too damning right there. This is kind of a controlled breakdown thus far. It's not like really shattering just yet. It's been very, very constructive, and it's coming down here. So I wouldn't necessarily, while I am looking for some more downside on that, I wouldn't necessarily call it like bearish, for example. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got. All right, BK wants to look at AMP USD. All right, let's look at AMP symbol. And this one I think just got listed on Coinbase, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Did it? If it did, yes, it did. It's right there. All right, nice one. We'll go to Gemini though. We need to see some more history here. 4 hour, very likely coming down to 5.7 cent, but I don't know if that's what you asked for. Yes, it is. You asked for a 4 hour, daily, and weekly. Okay, let's see what the daily looks like. So short term's down, daily, tries for another base here as well, but long term is an uptrend. I like this, not bad. Now it did just have its big event, so I usually do kind of treat that as a little bit of a sell the event type of situation. I mean, we do see a little bit. I mean, we do see a pretty nasty pullback right here thus far. I'd give it a chance to bounce first off the 4 hour. Again, short term down, very likely back down to about 5.7 cent. I'd be looking for a bounce there. If it can maintain these higher lows on the daily, I'd remain long term bullish on it, I suppose. And you'd be, again, looking for that higher low around that 5.7 cent region. Below there, I would be looking, if it does start to destroy that area, I'd be looking for a little bit of a move down, somewhere around about 5 cent. And that's going to really call into question the long term bullishness of this. Again, I would express that that concern very audibly, mostly because typically these are kind of like sell the event types things, and I'm not a humongous fan of the monthly right here, but we still have a lot of days left to go, another almost full week. So I would probably hold off on like fully looking at the higher term timeframes, but you can see that a lot of things are in place, at least for right now. Short term timeframes seem to be pretty obvious. We'll see how that matches up around monthly close. Archetypex. Search super stonks, the bigger short, 2008 by Kryland. Sorry if you've already covered this, but really would like to know your thoughts. Again, you probably don't want my thoughts. What I'm guessing is on like macroeconomic events. I'm not trained in that. You don't want my opinion on that. It would be very immature. There's much better people to go to for that. But what I can say, and I'm making an assumption here that this is like some sort of macroeconomic analysis. Typically speaking, macroeconomic analysis is bullshit in my opinion, in my experience. You very rarely see one of those guys get it wrong. I mean, I like the way that Naval Ravikant kind of relates that idea. It's like voodoo fucking science, and it's easier to macro bullshit than micro bullshit. And microeconomics can, I've seen that being able to be done relatively well. Macroeconomics, not so much. So if that is what you're talking about, I'm just the wrong person to ask. There's much better people to ask than me, but I'd even just push back on it even being super relevant to begin with, because I've always, from all these economists, not all these economists, but from many economists, I've always been hearing like stock market's going to crash. We're too extended, going to crash, blah, 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 this and that. It's like no one understands the macro economy. It's too complex. It's too complicated. I don't think that one person, not even fucking Janet Yellen, understands the macro economy. It's literally fucking voodoo at this point. There's too many moving variables. No singular person under fucking standards, and not even like a group of people understand it. I think it's like past. Like it didn't. I don't think it makes sense, to be honest with you. We just have to trade what's in front of us, in my opinion. Anyways, what's up, Josh? There he is. Yo, bro, Bitcoin Weekly looks very similar to every other top on EMA crosses. When do we confirm this is the top? Okay, so you're looking at major EMA crosses here. Well, we haven't really had too many weekly crosses, except for the 10 simple and 21, which are drawing closer and closer to each other. How is that done in the past? Because that's the only one that I see crossing right now, specifically on the weekly. Well, let's get rid of all of the minutia here. I'm actually going to leave on the 55 as well, because I think that might have some interest. Let's take off the 89. Let's take off the 377's not even going to fucking populate there. And we can just roll with these guys right here. Okay, so on a lot of the macro tops, what do we see? Well, typically speaking, we see the shorter period moving averages moving first. And where has this worked out, and where has this not worked out? Over here, this has not worked out. That did not work out very well at all. But over here with the 10 simple and 21 worked out incredibly well. Worked out insanely well. Wait, hold on. No. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this at the wrong. Sorry. Am I looking at this in the wrong way or the right way? Yeah, no, I'm looking at this in the wrong way. This one over here obviously worked out very, very well. This one over here worked out to the upside incredibly well. This one over here to the downside incredibly well as well. And we need to go to a longer running chart history for the rest of it. Let's see, how did this one do in, yeah, it actually stayed the whole way through from 2015 to 2018. Not bad. What about this one on the other side? Terrible signal right there. Excellent, amazing signal right there. Not the best signal right there. So no, I don't know if I'd say that blindly just yet. When we do see the 10 symbol like really drop down into the 21, like with that very aggressive curvature, I mean, typically that's like your bull trap right here, you know, bull trap right here. This one over here a little bit less so, although it didn't necessarily cross anyways. So technically speaking, you could be maybe looking at something like that, as to which point would kind of fit into maybe the long running narrative that we do get a bull trap in the, you know, mid, maybe upper $40,000 territory. Perhaps yes. You know, I could definitely agree with that. But in its current posturing, I'm not sure if I'd share that exact same view. I would be more neutral on it here still until Bitcoin breaks below 31.5 now. I don't really, I want to err on the side of neutrality more than anything else. And maybe like short-term, medium-term bullishness, I suppose, if anything. All right, cool. Hopefully I got that one right. Let's see. But like, you know, as far as confirming a top right here, I think that's actually a little bit of an easier conversation. Again, I'd just be looking for 31.5 on the downside, especially on a daily. I mean, that would be pretty damn dastardly to give up what would have been your trap. I mean, if you're looking at this as a trap, Bitcoin, you would not want to see it come back down to 31.5. That would completely call into question what a trap is. When you have a real trap, when you have a real trap, you do not let the trap shorts out, you know, just a few days afterwards. You bring it up to the top side of the range in this case and squeeze them. And that's what you're looking for if you are looking at it in that metric. So that also implies the opposite would be true as well. If we start to come back down there, this is essentially the bull trap right here if that would happen. But still a little bit further away from that. So fair enough. We do have a death cross coming in on the daily, however, very soon, very, very soon. It's not going to happen today. We'd have to close below about 27,300. I guess it could happen today, actually. But as Bitcoin does hang below the 200 exponential average, the longer that it does, those will inevitably draw closer and closer together, and that number will go up and up, and to the point where we actually are at current price action. This one fails to move to the upside. What's up, Mr. Phi? Zur, with manual risk management, what causes you to actually cut your losses versus treating as a stray wick? What if it shoots past risk management point? Good day, sir. Okay, so if you recall back in the what's it called? Back in the motherfucker, man, what did I name that? Yes, the trade checklist. If you recall back in the trade checklist, when I am manually managing risk, what I do is I have like the how would I relate this concept? Like the ideal risk management point, which I typically do on closures, and then I have like an emergency one, which I use on wicks, which is a static stop loss, and that it's like if price action comes here, I don't fucking want this trade anymore. Yeah, it's going to include more risk, obviously, as it naturally should, but that's like my hard stop. So I think you might be misunderstanding exactly what I'm saying, or maybe I'm not doing the best job of explaining it as well. But again, you have to have both. You have to know what you're going to do in those situations because they will happen. Now, there's a few indicators that can help you with that. The biggest and most obvious one is going to be volatility, right? Like let's say let's say that a move is going against you, and you know you're trying to like scalp the range, and you bought on the lows or what you thought was the lows, and then you see that BBWP is like way low down here, and then you start to break below the lows, and BBWP is starting to expand. You're like, okay, this move's not going to fucking stop here. I'm gonna get out of this. So that would be an example of that. You could also use like momentum oscillator and say like if this turns against me at this point, I don't want to be in this anymore. It's gonna be less good, but those are some other ways that you can mediate that. But again, you need to have situations for both because it will happen. I mean, if you're managing risk on closures over here, I mean, you're just going to get fucking blown through before you even have a chance. So obviously, yes, that needs to be included. Yes. Hey, what's up, Dill? Love you too, sir. Super Groovy Lily says, I got scam wicked out of 1/4 of my Ethereum on Tuesday at 1.8K. I bought at 110 to $200, so I am not mad. But it is a good idea to open a 1x long with another 1/4 to try to gain it back. So if you're just trying to gain it back because you're mad that you're frustrated that you got taken out of a position that you kind of wanted, or that in hindsight you might have wanted to stay in, that's not a good reason to get back in. You get back into a trade because you like the setup, not because you feel like you missed the boat. So do you have a setup? Like why did you get in the first place? Maybe you're a more long-term investor, at which point, you know, you probably still use some sort of price action analysis in order to kind of judge your entries. Go back off of that. So I can only lead you back to what your first initial answer was, and hopefully that's in some way helpful. But I can't just tell you blindly to say, get back in it right now, do it. It's like, no, I can't say that because I don't know why you got in the first place. And this is actually a really funny thing. My mentor actually hit me up yesterday. and he's been watching the streams, which is pretty funny. And he always laughs. He was telling me that he always has like a really good laugh when someone asks a question similar to that, because it's like, how do you give an answer to that? Well, you can't, because you're not the person who got in the position in the first place. So I can only lead you back to what your initial sort of thesis was. And if those conditions are met, then yes, you know, obviously get back into a trade. It's just, you know, you play the edge again, but you don't just get back into a trade because I want to make it back. I mean, obviously you want to make it back, but you make good trades off of good setups, not off of, your will to make the money back, for example. So, you know, again, this is one of those times where you really want to kind of dial back, in my opinion, and focus on like, what are you actually trying to fucking do? Hey, what's up, David Shapiro? Amazing live stream and charting work. Thanks, man. Would love your TIA on Woo. Symbol Woo. Is this like the Ric Flair token? The old Woo's over here. Yeah, we can look at it, man. And I haven't seen you here before, so good to meet you, sir. And welcome. Is your brother named Ben? Because he is he's a very questionable person. I'm not a fucking political person, but goddamn, man, that guy, like, Elsa, I think Elsa wrapped it up perfectly. He's like, he's never touched a boob in his life. It's like, okay, I don't know what time frame you're going off of here because you did not include a time frame, but if we're going off of very short-term time frames, it looks good for putting in a low structure right here. I probably would be looking for this one to pop back up short-term north of like 85 cents or so. Daily, if that follows through, I'd just be generally looking for this one to kind of reclaim the prior range back up to north of 90 cents. Other than that, though, I don't have a strong opinion on this one. It's one of the better actors, it looks like. It doesn't have too much history here, but it is one of the better actors thus far, all things considered. So short-term, yeah, I'd be looking for this one to put in a bit of a base. I do like this right here. Nice little higher lows in place. Momentum oscillators all pointed up northwards, and look at this. So you got 4-hour Joule signal in progress, and you got volatility about to be on your side too if it expands. So this short-term target could very easily be extended to the daily target, which is in like the mid 90s, actually, maybe even back to $1. But ultimately, it's going to be tethered to whatever Bitcoin does, right? So whatever Bitcoin does, this one will mirror. It seems like it's being a bit of a better beneficiary on the upside, and I do like how this one has not completely shit the bed in comparison to most other altcoins. And more importantly, on the move to the downside the other day, look at this one. It actually did not even take out the prior low. So that is a good signal of strength long term. And so I can definitely find some good things about this, but long term, you know, it's doing more or less the same thing as Bitcoin. We're going sideways for a while. At best, if you're bearish, you're looking for a breakdown like you were looking for a breakdown yesterday. But remember the quarterly analysis that we spoke about beginning at the end of last week and early this week. You kind of saw it to come to fruition as well. We said there's going to be a big pivot on price action on Wednesday and Thursday, and that has been true. So I do put a lot of weight on that, and you can really trust in those metrics a lot of the time, and you will naturally notice that at the end of every quarter, you will see big pivots on price action, typically due to the interplay between futures and options expirations, and also, you know, quarterly rebalancing of portfolios. Hoju42 says, Maestro Krown, what's up, man? Just regular Krown today. I can't like your videos. If I go there via the trading app, it goes to an actual embedded page rather than the actual YouTube page. Bastard! I want a refund now! Why are you not liking these videos? How dare you? Just kidding, man. Look, if you can't like the video, it's all good. In fact, we need to balance out these goddamn likes. There's way too many likes in comparison to dislikes. What the fuck is going on right here? There should be way more people who dislike this video for sure. I do know that. I've done a quantitative analysis on it, and that I'm certain of. What's up, Anthony RC? After watching many YouTubers and failing 1 to 1.5 years of watching your channel, and I've actually learned how to trade. Holy shit, man. That's awesome. Fuck yeah. That's super cool, man. That's honestly super cool, man. I'm very happy to hear that. And it seems like that's true for a lot of people. Like, I know that you're not in a program or anything, but you can still like gather enough, and that's awesome to see, man. Like, you've really done a lot. If you've survived the last 1.5 years, I mean, what did you survive? Let's just go back in your history of trading. Okay, so you survived all the way back here to coronavirus at the very least. Yeah, you basically survived back around here. You basically started right around here. So you saw some really fucking difficult markets within that time. If you traded it well during that time, you don't need you're good, man. You're fucking good. Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool to see, man. This is not an easy trading environment. This is not easy right now. You know, I definitely struggled a couple days ago on this low right here. The other couple traps I had pretty damn well. But goddamn, man, you know, massive shout out, man. Massive shout out. That is that is super awesome. Mario Mars says, oh, my apologies, Krown. I didn't mean this second. It's all good, man. I was just giving you shit, and honestly, I probably shouldn't have responded that way anyways, but yeah, man, not this second. Later on, I mean, you know, if we're gonna see like a 10 to 20% correction in traditional markets, I mean, so this is much further away. I think, you know, at least half a year probably. So I don't think it's like too relevant to be focusing on right now. Sir, what's going on here? Let's go on. What's going on here? Oh, do you remember that guy? Oh, it's the same guy who's emailing you. You can just ban him. He's another troll. RCE says apps daily weekly. Sure, man. Let's do it. Let's do apps daily weekly. What do we have over here? All right, on NASDAQ, and it's like, again, Annex, man. Annex, you're gonna use your life. You're gonna use your life to troll on a YouTube stream. What the fuck? What are you gonna say on your deathbed, man? What are you gonna say? Anyways, yeah, man, it's another one of those toxic guys. Anyways, yes, okay, so app's actually pretty damn good chart right here. Very good chart right here, actually. Popping back above the prior range highs. We do see a bit of a very sloppy inverted head and shoulders right here. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards $90. I mean, maybe this one even trends further deep too. I mean, you do have a bullish engulfing on the weekly. I'd probably be looking at a move back up towards 90, man. This looks good. Looks good overall. But what time frames were you looking at right here? No, daily, weekly. Okay, yeah, we actually got that. Not bad. Not bad at all. I like it, man. I like it, sir. What about momentum also? Yeah, all in the same direction. Everything points north, man. I'd be looking somewhere around 90. And at that point, if you get another breakout, I wouldn't necessarily call it a breakout just yet, but I don't know. Is it in a good posture here? Pretty extended chart, yes, but could it do it? Usually when you get back around $90, or when you get to $90 for the first time, you'll just kind of get a free ride to 100, just a general weird thing that typically happens in markets. All right, cool. Jason Asher says, what's up, Krown? What's up, Mr. Jason? Can you look at XDC? It's a long-term hodl for me, but curious if it looks good in short-term. Sure. Okay, symbol XDC. Let's see. Okay, I'm guessing you're looking at this, or are you looking at some sort of crypto? Let's see. You might be looking at this. All right, you have to be the one to let me know. I'm probably going to guess it's this one within the context of this channel. Usually people are asking about cryptos for the most part. Not that we don't hate stocks. In fact, we quite like stocks. It's a long-term hodl for me, but curious if looks good in short-term, it's up 10%. Okay, so if you're just focusing on short-term timeframes, I can already tell you that I do like the daily, but this one could very easily come back to, you know, just below 5 cents, somewhere around like 4.8. Looks fine to me. Short-term though, I kind of default to like a 4 hour in this case. Yeah, a little bit of a short-term range, and I'd probably be looking for a little bit of pullback here, maybe back down to like 5.5 or so. It's certainly not out of the question, man. So fair enough. Oh dear Lord. All right. But what else could we do for this one? Maybe go down to an hourly and see what we got going on right here. Yeah, short term probably does play a little bit of a downside move, kind of similar to Bitcoin. In fact, Bitcoin I think is playing that out right now. In fact, let's see. Do we come back down all the way to? I'd probably be looking somewhere around 33.7, around yesterday's kind of nice little move and continuation. All right, Tilo G says, instead of shitting on my comment, tell me where the BBWP video is, and 60 is the look back, not the SMA. I literally just showed you the. The settings right here, man. Can I point you towards a video? I'm on a live stream right now, man. You can always type it onto YouTube. Just type in Krown's Crypto Cave, BBWP, Bollinger Band with percentile. You could also do that, or you could just look at the settings right here. They're right there, man, and you can screenshot that and use it if you do desire. But looking at a 60 look back is not going to be too damn good in my opinion. Again, that was the whole fucking settings right there, not just the SMA. Very interesting. All right, man. Well, we'll just move on. Rocky G, what's up, man? Further to the 10 to 21 EMA cross on weekly, and then price action is governed by the 30 SMA along with downward slope. Interesting to see how this plays. Yeah, the 30 simple, typically with a slope, is actually very, very good for general momentum in my experience. We can do, you're going to do something like this. So let's actually look at exactly what you're looking at, and we can pull all these off. There we go. So you're looking at, oh shit. There it is right there. Okay, now it's represented by the blue. And actually it's starting, no, it's actually not flattening out. Okay, this would actually be a little more on the side of the bears right here, in fact. Yeah, we do see it has a negative slope. That is not good. That is not what you would have expected. And that is why the $36,000 level is very important right there for Boolahs to reclaim. Let's see. Where was the last time we saw something similar to this? Well, that'd be right around here. Yep. Blue 30 gets a negative slope. We see the downside cross right there. Not good. What about bear markets past or downside markets past? Yep. Right here. Same thing. Gets across right there. Boom. Negative slope. Not good. Works the same to the upside as well. Actually pretty damn well. In fact, gets a really good one right here too before coronavirus dump times. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You are 100% right, sir. There does seem to be a very good interplay with that. And to be honest with you, the 30 simple, as long as that slope is negative, I am a little bit hesitant on this price action. Yeah, that does certainly play into potentiality of a bit of a trappy situation going on right here. I'd still give it the benefit of the doubt, at least for like the next couple days. But if we get a rejection right here, especially if we come back down below yesterday's low, that is not going to look good. 32,300 going to be that pivot on the daily right there. Let me pick on all the other major movement averages that we had on before. Yeah, I typically do not include the 30 simple just because my charts get like way too convoluted to begin with, but something like that. So fair enough. Yeah, man, good eye on that one. All right, cool. Robert Giroux says, thoughts on CRV, USDT, Binance? Okay, let's do CRV, USDT, Binance. I know this one's a little bit more popular here. This is Curve DAO on Binance. Okay, there we go. A little bit stronger than Bitcoin, relatively speaking. It looks like holding the range really, really well right here. Look, if Bitcoin does pop back up to like 36,500, I'd be looking for this one somewhere around about 190 to $2. But again, it mostly depends on what Bitcoin does. While this one is looking relatively better, I probably wouldn't put my money on it continuing to the upside if Bitcoin does kill on to the downside here. Now, I do still think that Bitcoin probably does try for a continuation move, and the volume on this one is, rather suggestive here too. Momentum oscillators are more or less good. I do like this. Looking at the daily, I mean, whether you're bullish or bearish, probably would be looking for a nice move towards the 190 or so. But technically speaking, you do have a death cross coming. Not the best right there. And I do not, I'm not so certain on this one. I was gonna say it was relatively strong. I'm not so sure. We do have a higher low, so I do like that. I'd probably just give this one the benefit of the doubt though in this case. I mean, it did put in a higher low, which is good, which is very good compared to the majority of this market. Hard to be excited for a long term as long as you're below this level right here, though, obviously, where you're finding your last mega highs at about $3.50. You're asking just about a daily, though. Let's go back here for a second. Yeah, a little bit of sideways. If Bitcoin takes another leg up, I'd be looking for this one somewhere around like 190 to $2. It look good, but mostly depends on what Bitcoin does. Comes back down and takes out 145 to the downside. Bad, very bad if that would happen. But for right now, okay. All right, hey, what's up, Mimi's that butter my biscuits? Looking beautiful tonight, Krown. Thanks, man. The flowers really accent your bullish hair. I appreciate that. Finally hiding my bald spot, so people will stop making fun of me, man. So mean, so fucking mean. I like went into the Discord the other day. It's just like people talking about my hair. It's like, what the? This is getting weird. This is getting strange. Anyways, Nate says, "What's up, Krown? What's up, man? Can you check out Google on Nasdaq?" Yes, of course. GOGL. Let's see what we got going on running over here. And let's see. You want to look at daily and weekly. That's not a daily. That's a 4 hour. Daily. Actually, let's go to a weekly. Let's get the macro view first. Hey, this is not Google. Hold on. What we're supposed to be looking at. This is, and it's not Google. This is, I was just fucking doing the phonetics wrong there. Looks good on the macro breakout. I do like this. Putting in a base back above your prior range highs is typically a good thing. On volume, I would be looking for a general continuation on this. It looks very good, man. It looks very good. Long term on the monthly, do I think that it generally continues up somewhere around 18, maybe even low 20s? Possible, yes. Yeah, volume signature on this, very, very good. Multiple drives of bullish evidence come off the lows. I mean, we did hit the easy moves on that, especially the 21 and even the 55. I mean, that's pretty damn aggressive there. I'd play this one long-term bullish in this case. Looking at a daily, you got a very obvious sort of base. I'd say you're short-term bullish as long as you remain at about 9.25. The higher trend line, about $10, is more relevant to the monthly, just to be 100% clear. I'd be looking for a little bit of sideways on the daily and kind of stair step its way up. I do like this one on the higher term time frames though a lot. Monthly and I imagine quarterly are going to be looking very good. Quarterly is right at the 21, but look at this. We do have quarterly Jewel given a soft signal right there, not a full signal because we don't really have enough history to be fair. Bullish evidence off the quarterly RSI as well, and quarterly TSI turning up. I think this one very likely does pull through. Technically speaking, you want to see the quarterly close by this level as well, but right now, you know, it's about a clean more than $1 above it. So looking decent, and I would generally be looking for a long-term continuation. All right, what's up, Go Lucky? Hi, bruv. If Bitcoin pumped past $42,000 in the next 2 days, would that be bad for bulls after the pump? Okay, if Bitcoin pumped past $42,000 in the next 2 days, would that be bad for bulls after the pump? I do think that the faster that, in general, the faster that Bitcoin pumps here, the more that I think you're going to get a rejection in the mid or deep $40,000 territory, assuming that you even get a move in there to begin with. So here's the assumption. The assumption is that Bitcoin gets into, you know, mid 40 or deep $40,000 territory. And if we do see a rejection there, I'd essentially be looking for Bitcoin to come back down into range. Technically speaking, it would keep the door open for the bear-offs, but I'd stick with what I've been saying here, that as long as we're above, not even 31.5, but I think even like 32.5 probably gets it. I kind of do fall away from like further continuation to the downside into like the deeper $20,000 territory. Anyways, God damn, man, some of these comments are great right now. But let me see. Okay, I want to just make sure that I understand this properly. Okay, yeah. So the assumption again is that Bitcoin pumps past $42,000, at which point, you know, you'd start to initiate targets into the deeper 40,000s. Let's call it like 47 to 50,000 bucks. I wouldn't say that it's bad for bulls. Like obviously going up is not bad for bulls, just like going down is not bad for bears. But I would say that that move very likely does get pushed back, and we do find ourselves back around, you know, the mid 30 to up to low $40,000 range. I don't think Bitcoin's like ready to trend anytime soon. Again, the longer that Bitcoin spends going sideways here, you know, the more specifically like to the tune of another 2 to 3 months. The better for bulls. So I would be looking at any move around here as very likely like a quick one and out, come back down, and then continue on with the sideways market. That would be, again, in my opinion, best case for bulls. And if Bitcoin were to pump past $42,000 in the next few days, that would be resolving this consolidation very, very quickly in comparison to the distributed phase over here, which probably is not going to work out for like a long-term macro move, for example, just kind of like a, you know, I guess a medium-term move in comparison. Okay, cool. Legend LEZ says, AMD, my baby, thinking to close my July 16th, 75 and 80 strike, I'm guessing calls, yes, by selling $90 calls on first pass and re-enter. Okay, let me pull this one up first. Let's see what you got here. Let's see what you got. Okay, all right. We'll do this one on NAS. Oh yeah, looking good here. Looking very good. Okay, so let's dial in exactly what you're looking at. All right. Fucking hate their products, but very bullish stock. All right, July 16th, 75 and $80 strikes. Okay, you're gonna close them by selling some $90 call strikes. So what you'd be essentially doing in that case is you'd be assuming that price action will get back above $90. Otherwise, you're going to be caught with long stock, which honestly, I wouldn't mind in this stock right here, to be honest with you. So are you thinking of selling the $90 strike calls today? It would actually be a good idea to do today, because those things are just going to decay over the weekend. And then you got another 2 weeks left. And usually the 2 weeks before expiration is where they're going to decay the fastest. So decay would be on your side. I might even consider like a little bit further out of the money. But it depends. Do you want to have the stock at the end of the day, or do you want to just close using options? If you want to close using options, then probably $90 strike is fine. You might want to go a little bit more in the money, perhaps around, where's this level right here? Yeah, maybe like $87, pretty much where we're at right now. But again, that comes down to your disposition. Do you want to be holding the underlying stock or not? Because if you do let those calls expire in the money, then, well, I mean, you could just be holding the stock, and this is a pretty fucking bullish stock for all that I'm concerned with. Yeah, very, very powerful right there. Very fucking powerful, actually. Yeah, monthly is just a nice little consolidation, looking like it wants to continue for more long term. But that's up for you to decide. If you just want to take profit, yeah, I'd probably sell a little bit closer to at the money right now, just to be safe. You know, this does look like it's gonna be fine. Probably does work its way up towards north of $90. Does it happen within that time frame over the next couple weeks? I mean, weekly says yes. weekly looks pretty damn good here. So it depends on you, but typically speaking, I do err on the side of caution. So I'd rather just sell the closer in the monies. And again, you're going to get decent premium still around this time. And, weekends and also you have a very easy play this weekend too, right? The stock market should be closed on Monday, I believe. Or is that right? Do we have a half week next week, or kind of a shorter week? Yeah, we have the 4th of July on Sunday. Oh, is that going to be counted as a holiday though? We can get Monday off. I don't know. I haven't checked, but I would assume probably yes, at which point they're going to decay even more. So it would actually be a pretty damn good decision to take today. Robert Deroux says, thoughts on CRV, UST, daily Binance? I think we looked at this one earlier, and I don't think I'd have anything new to say about it. We can look at it again. Daily Binance. Yeah, again, one of the better actors. I do remember this one. Yeah. I do like the volume on that last little move to the upside. Again, we need to see Bitcoin pull through here, but assuming that Bitcoin does, I'd be looking for this one back above 190, somewhere between about 190 and $2. I do like how it set in a higher low. I really like how this one set in a higher low because most things in this market did not. So if you're seeing activity like that, you can say that they're generally relatively strong in comparison to the rest of things in this market. Problem is that I believe we saw Dogecoin do the same thing. Or at least it's having one of the better bounces, which we should go check on right now. No, definitely close on lower lows. Okay, absolutely close on lower lows. But god damn, man, look at this one. It's already bounced up from low to high right now, 75%. I mean, that is that is concerning, man. That is concerning to me. Jesus fucking Christ. That is one hell of a weekly right there. Yeah, I don't think this one's done just yet. Can't kill the dog just yet. All right, I think we're at the bottom of the comments now. I think I can get onto a few more comments. We actually have a Finnish holiday today, in fact, so I'll get to that a little bit later, but we indeed. Okay, all right. Let's see. All right, Tilo G is asking Caretaker about the BBWP. Again, I've showed you the settings that I use, which I think work pretty damn well. Several times now, so I suspect that you're just looking for additional information. Fair enough. Hey, what's up, Alex? What's up, man? Okay, Yo-Yo, didn't get that properly. You said the 2 weeks decay. Okay, yes. So when you're about 2 weeks before expiration, decay starts to set in a lot more at a rapid rate. Obviously, you know, like the last week before expiration, it goes by extremely fast. I mean, by fucking Wednesday, if you're assuming that you're playing the weeklies on Friday, they're just going to be all premium anyways. But you know, statistically speaking, if you're looking to long premium, usually you want to do like more than 2 weeks out if you want to, you know, be having those statistics work for you. If not, then you're usually just better off buying straight up stock in my experience, unless if equity is going to be a concern with like holding those trades, because obviously options can really dig into that. Glad midsummer to you, Mr. Alulim. Alulim, what's up, man? Sharky Smith says, Dog and Elon Musk is taking away retail investment from Bitcoin. I don't know. I mean, you know, obviously, the problem is that I don't think retail money really matters that much, to be honest with you. It's just going to be a drop in the ocean compared to, you know, a big investment firm, or especially like, you know, a country that's getting into Bitcoin, which I don't know, kind of a different statement anyways, but you know, they're going to be obviously a lot, you know, a drop in the ocean compared to like even a fucking, you know, a quant firm or a firm like fucking 3AC, right? It's just not really comparable. Okay, cool. Mr. Smith says, can we pay in promises for future thumbs up for Tesla, please? Sure, man. Do you want to look at Tesla? Yeah, you can look at Tesla really quick. Let's see. Yes, the idea is to actually, I do prefer longer lookbacks. For the BBWP, it's kind of general knowledge that 252 is the best one to be using, because that is the amount of real trading days within the year. Okay, this one, Tesla. What are we looking at right here? Good breakout. I do believe that we were bullish on this one a few days ago. We got the move. Nice. How are we doing right now? Let's put on the. Oh, nice. Okay, so probably coming back down, testing somewhere around this breakout, maybe like 660-ish region. I would not say that this is another lower high just yet, though, on the higher time frame scale. In fact, the weekly looks really, really good. So yes, probably does pull back a little bit here, maybe back down to like 650 or 660. But coming into next week, man, I'd be looking for a general continuation, assuming that we close above 650 today. So a bit of an assumption there, but it does look good. And, you know, again, we have another very aggressive chart, very fucking aggressive chart, you know, around your parabolic blow off top highs. But does it get another try to the upside within the context of this consolidation? Probably yes, especially based off the weekly. Problem is, as long as you're below about 770, you are operating on weekly lower highs. So a little bit of a point of contingency right there. But can you rally up in the meantime? Yeah, I do think so. Do we have bullish evidence come off this one as well? Actually, hidden bullish evidence on this one. A little bit of phantom div going on right there, as weekly TSI perhaps could turn around as well. Yeah, I do think more or less fine. If you're looking at the weekly, that is. Okay, hey, what's up, Abraham? Krown, were you wearing a Hornets jersey in the Chivalry stream? No, that was actually a Celtics jersey, if you're talking about the green one, man. I have like an old Celtics jersey that I've had for like fucking 10 years that I use for like working out and just sweating in, you know, disgustingly, man. I sweat like a fucking pig. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Yeah, I think I am. Dixie thumbs down says VS. I don't know. We can check. Did it move? Do we have a new move here to be speaking about? Not really just yet. I still give it the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't call a breakdown yet, as long as it's above about 91.5. And by the same token, to the upside, I mean, it's still operating on lower highs as long as below about, especially $93. So kind of my line in the sand right there. This one can still technically go either way, although downside is a little bit more likely in this posturing. All right, cool. What else did I miss over here? Let's see. Hold on, let me just go back to Pedro for a second. Okay, got that. Okay, back on the chats over here. Let's see. Do you want to look at XRP? We can look at XRP. It's actually a really funny conversation I had about XRP yesterday. But let's go check it out. How's this one holding up here? How's this one holding up? 60. Wait, is this one at 66 cents? Holy shit, man! This one really did shit the bed. Yeah, this would be an example of a chart that's relatively weak. This one closed on significantly lower lows, not having the same sort of bounce that many of the other stronger ones are having. Not even close, it looks like. I mean, well, then again, that is 33%, so that is actually pretty damn good. But not the same like 50 to 70% bounces that we have seen on some of the more strong ones. To be fair, you know, look, I know that people don't like Ripple, but if we are being fair about this, it is still operating on a weekly higher lows, so it is hard to hate long term until that gets destroyed. And realistically, as long as you're closing weeklies above the last major breakout, which is about 60 cent even, fine, it's completely fine. So that is okay. Do I think that this one can move up to like 75 to 77 cent? Yes, but that would require a Bitcoin to get back up towards, I'd imagine, like 39 or 40,000 bucks. So it's going to operate relatively weak. And here's the problem with a lot of altcoins. Assuming that Bitcoin dominance continues to go up, which I imagine it very likely will. So with that in mind, if Bitcoins were to say rally up to like 40,000 bucks and reject, you're going to just see a lot of these altcoins put in lower highs on the higher term time frame, which is not going to be long term good. So they're going to get soaked up more and more and more. Can you please look at Polkadot? I can. It would be better if you included a time frame so that we can dial in something a little more specific, but sure, we can look at it right here. Looks like shit. Looks bad. Looks pretty bad, man. Another relatively weak one. Let's look at it on Binance. Maybe there's something different going on here. Nope, there's not. Massively lower lows right here. Best that this one can do to the upside, assuming Bitcoin gets going, is like 19 bucks or so. Very nasty chart right here. Very fucking bad chart. This is an example of something that is incredibly relatively weak. I mean, it's worse chart than Dogecoin for what it's worth. Let's look at the very low term time frames. Yeah, barely even participating in the rallies to the upside that Bitcoin's been putting in. So not the best sign. Best that I can do to the upside, in my opinion, is like 19 bucks or so, assuming that Bitcoin even just continues on from here, which right now, I mean, you do have to entertain the possibility of this being a potential rejection. Although, personally speaking, I do think Bitcoin does move to the upside here. Okay, docs, please. Like docs you or docs me. My full name's already out there, man. Eric Krown. All right, let's see. Alu Lim says, all goody here. Rainy days like always these days. You must be in the great north, sir. Hope you had a good day. Did you see the Evening Star Doji on the monthly? You talking about on Bitcoin? Let's see. You talking about this one right here? Well, yes, that would certainly be it. But we did have that about 3 months ago. So maybe you're talking about Ethereum, because I know that one had one as well. Yeah, this one's more of a long-legged doji right here, but still concerning nonetheless. Now, I do want to pull this up over here on the Trollender Band chart, because we do still have a bit of a chance for Ethereum, to be fair. Let me bring this one down. Let me bring this one around. There we go. Or actually, not so much of a chance, actually, to get back above the topside Trollender Band here and continue with long-term trend. That would require a price of about 25.30 in the next little bit less than a week. It's not the least likely thing to happen, or it's not the most likely thing to happen, but I'm just curious where that put us. Okay, yeah, we need about another 30% rally right there. Yeah, I'd really need Bitcoin to pick itself up, because this one, again, is probably a little bit more on the weaker side, right? We did close on lower lows right here. It's not participating as much on these upside moves. Short-term resistance right around 21. If Bitcoin gets up to like 40 or 45, I wouldn't even be looking for this one to go past like 23 or especially 25. 25 would have been, or is 25 the pivot right there? Hold on, let me just double check on this. Yeah, 25 is the pivot actually. So I think that's best that it does. Maybe if it regains to 20 simple on the weekly, you make an excuse for it, but even that's 2,300. So if you can do that before end of weekend, that would look pretty damn good. That would look pretty damn good to me. Let's see. The Adventures of Galactic Traveler. What's up, man? Krown, Harmony 1. Wow, yeah. This one has not been called out for a while as well. Let's see what it's doing. One Harmony, and we are looking at daily, weekly. Weekly, not so hot right there. Daily, again, another one that's just just melting down, man. That is not what you expect on a good chart. I know that someone's going to say, but Krown, isn't it a falling channel? I mean, you could say that, but this one can continue to be a falling channel for infinity. That's the problem with falling channels. You got a few okay things going on right here. Let's bring it on the regular charts over here instead. Okay, here we go. Let's see, let's go to a daily, or this is a monthly. Let's maybe go to a weekly and a daily. Yeah, not the hottest on the weekly. Daily, yeah, this one not participating as much either. Short-term resistance right around 6.6 cent. If Bitcoin gets going to 40,000 bucks, I think best this one does is like 7.5 cent. I don't really see too many things to be too excited about in this thing as long as it's below about 11 cents long term. If you're talking about like a macro structure here. Yeah, it looks like I had this one charted out a long time ago and still working on that one too. Not bad. But that'd kind of be my conditions for that one. Going to require a strong Bitcoin here, in my opinion, in order to get back up. All right. Why did Phantoms just spike up 4 cents in 2 minutes? Well, I can give you the answer. That's always the most accurate answer, but probably not too helpful for what you're trying to look at. There's more buyers than sellers, sir. That is quite literally the only reason why price action ever moves, ever. Doesn't matter what the fucking news is, doesn't matter what the fundamentals are, doesn't matter what anyone says ever. The only thing that moves price action is quite literally trades itself, by fucking definition. Like the stream, you can do it, says Frivolous. Do we have some likes here? We got, oh, we're almost at 1,000 actually. Not bad, not bad indeed. Pretty quiet Saturday, or sorry, pretty quiet Friday here, it looks like. Lol. 20K bag waiting for more dips on AMP. So you're gonna invest 20,000 bucks into AMP. Fair enough. I think you might be getting your tip. Alulim says, yeah, on Bitcoin, that was around the time to bearish. Yes, I do agree. It seems like bearishness is all mainstream. I'm kind of bullish now since that pattern. I don't think bullish is the right term in my opinion. I think sideways is the right term, and sideways is going to be long-term bullish, but Bitcoin needs to prove itself in my opinion for the next, couple months here, most likely. If this one can hold sideways above 30,000 bucks for the majority of summer, I'd look at that as very, very likely good. And we could maybe continue on with another macro rally. Yeah, Great North. Fuck yeah, man. We're over here in Finland, so you must be, I'm guessing either Swedish or Norwegian. Where in Finland do you live? The only place in Finland that has a city. Helsinki, man. Yeah, we live in Helsinki, actually. TRX short term, thank you. Sure, man. Yeah, we can look at that really quickly. I think we got a few more times. What time are you going to go with your friends? Okay, 2. Okay, so 9 times soon. All right, gotcha. All right, cool. What do you look? Oh, actually, all things considered, I was not expecting to see this, but a very good bounce on Tron. Have to give credit where credit is due. Took a massive stab at the 21 there. Not bad. I'd be looking for an initial pullback from there, which I think we're getting right now, actually. Daily Jewel is giving a buy signal. Wow. Powerful Tron. Say what you will about it, but there's a pretty good setup going on right here. Again, going to require Bitcoin to move on as well, but this one relatively strong, actually, compared to the bounces on most things. Next major level to the upside is about 8.25 cents, but this one can play very easily up to like 7.5 cents, anywhere between there. That would be your next sort of like major breakout above, similar to like Bitcoin above about 41,000 bucks. Look okay. Very good response from Tron, funnily enough. I was not expecting that at all. What does the weekly look like here? Nice wick to the downside, yeah. To be fair, still holds its uptrend. Can't hate that, I guess. So fair enough. Have to give credit where credit is due, and this one, it's having one of the better short-term charts for sure. So you specifically asked for short-term, 4 hours flagging out at a high level. I'd probably be looking at short-term towards 7 cent, and more medium-term towards about 7.5 cent for a little bit of stopping action right there. What else do we got? Okay, we got someone spamming here. Kyra the legit. If you have to spam your shitcoin, it's probably not good. There we go. All right, there we go. Nice and bammed. Oh, did I time you out or did I ban you? Yeah. Okay, nice. All right, cool. When is she coming? Oh, okay, so okay, gotcha. All right, sir. Okay, cool. Hey, no problem, Galactic Travelers. Let's see what we got here. Okay, hello, sir. Luna, please. 4 hour daily weekly. Okay, we can look at this one. Symbol LUNA. Oh, you're probably not looking at this. You're probably looking at the crypto. All right, let's look at it right here. Okay, you're looking at a 4 hour. Not as strong as some of the other ones. Not as weak. I'd say this one's probably par for the course, actually. Did close on a higher low, though. I do like that. I'd be looking at short term, probably back up to $6. Natural resistance right there. Still working on lower highs to be fair too, but we do have a higher low in place, which is good, and we do have the daily jewel maybe whipping around for another signal. I'd like to see 1 to 2 more days pass before that. I do like the bullish divergence off the last low. I probably would be looking at the very least towards $6. If it can start to take out that area, I'd look for the jewel to pull through and probably move to the top side of the range. That would be like 7.25 or so long term. Again, going to depend on what Bitcoin does. This one's more or less going to mirror it, I imagine, but God damn, this one got smacked in the face. Holy shit, this one got smacked in the face. But fair enough. Fam, the 30 simple moving average slope on the weekly also, we can look at that. I typically don't do too much analysis on the weekly moving averages just because they don't change all that much. But let's see where it is. It's still to the upside, to be fair. Okay, let's actually just look at this one from the historically speaking. Let's see what we got right here. Okay. All right. Okay, we do see a very similar interplay to this over here. That is a little bit damning, even though the 30 symbol did have a positive slope. That was the end of it. Same thing over here too. Yeah, not good. Not good. And same thing over here too. That did lead into the bull trap, but that's kind of what I'm concerned with on this price action is, you know, Bitcoin pops up here, gets everyone really excited in the mid to upper 40s, and then comes back down, and maybe that would be the time to actually get bearish. That's kind of how I think it would end up looking like. But yeah, you do bring up a good point here, man. I'm glad that you pointed that one out because historically speaking, it typically says next rally is a sell, is a big bad sell. All right. Okay, man, we have a lot of shitcoin shillers today. Jesus Christ. That's definitely a sign of a very high quality project. Okay, let's just hide this guy. All right, goodbye. Cole Evans, what's up, man? Hey, Krown, how's Cardano USD Binance 4-hour and up looking today? Okay, I think I actually have it already over here. Let's go see him. There we go, 135. Weekly, I like. That is a phenomenal buyback. I mean, we nailed that $1 target to the downside a few days ago. This is a very good response. A very fucking good response. 42% move to the upside thus far. Very, very good. 4-hour, short term, a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside. Wouldn't mind if this one came back down and filled around like 129, 130-ish region. Not a problem. Long term, though, again, it's going to depend on what Bitcoin does, but I really like how it held this level right here. I'd look for it to probably play up towards, generally speaking, assuming that Bitcoin does continue here, somewhere just around 150-ish region. I mean, this is actually rather impressive here for the information that we do have thus far. Monthly, you know, have to go back onto this one as well. Not the worst of all time. What does the quarterly look like? Not as hot, but still a few days left to go. So higher term timeframes, I wouldn't necessarily make a comment on it. Again, it's going to be tethered to whatever Bitcoin does, but this one very likely does perform very, very well if Bitcoin does continue on here. BQX look interesting here. Oh man, you're on the Superman shitcoins. Let's check it out. I think this actually did have a decent chart last time we looked at it. 3 months of ranging. Price was almost stable when Bitcoin was dumping. Let's see. Well, it might be stable because like no one's fucking using it. Is it stable? No, I wouldn't say that. No. Did close on lower lows. Pretty damn good response though, to be fair. Very good response actually. You got a natural sort of risk management error on this one too, as long as you're above about 211.5, good. Do I think that this one tries a little bit higher alongside Bitcoin? Probably yes. 275 and 280, kind of the areas of interest to the upside. Long term though, I do not like shitcoins that did not take out their 2017 highs. That's not a good sign. The strong ones were taking out their 2017, 2018 highs. This one did not. It got around there, yes, but you know, the strong ones are as they are, and this one is not strong in my opinion. Death cross actually technically already happened, but this is not a good example of one either. This is the kind of one that you'd be looking for it to pump through, actually, if anything. Again, gonna depend on what Bitcoin does, but actually showing some decentness in the short-term timeframes there. Yeah, the bots are out, man. Crazy. Okay, Red Blue Green says, hey man, did you check Crypto's fib retracements in his latest master signal video? I wouldn't watch him too much, but I have to say this one does sound very interesting. No, I haven't. I typically don't watch other YouTubers. Not because I don't think that, like, you know, they're bad or anything. It's just I'm busy like doing my own thing too, you know. And I want all my analysis to be like as original as possible. In fact, if anything, I get sent videos that are very questionable with other people kind of saying very similar things that I typically say early in the day, but I won't comment on that because you can't fucking prove that anyway, so who cares. Let's see. So maybe I'll check that one out. I do like Crypto as a person, man. I'm actually we're very friendly towards each other. If he came around the city here, I'd definitely hang out with him. Or if we were in the same city, I'd definitely hang out with him. He's super fucking cool behind the scenes. Super fucking cool. All right, sweet. Okay. Ruben Gonzalez says, I sent 5. I need answers, bro. On what? I don't see any. Okay, sir, if you need to include the fucking comment in the sensor so that I can actually pull it up. Unfortunately, I can't pull it up when you do it like that. What are you looking for? Do you have AMP? I can. What time frames, man? For the love of God, what time frames? We can go to, I guess. Well, actually, short term down, man. I'd be looking for this one to come back down to like 5.9 or 5.5. Let's go back here actually. Name and shame them, fam. Nah, it's unnecessary drama in this space, and there's already enough going around, man. I don't want to contribute to that shit. Short term down, long term, I suppose I still like it, but yeah, it's hard to hate an uptrend like this. But I understand that it just had an event, so I am not usually those sorts of events where you get listed on exchange are a sell the event type thing. Short term though, I'd very likely be looking for another test back down below 5.9 cent. You know, if it tries to put another high low right there, that's fine. You know, look for it to range back up towards where it is right now at about 7 cent. But I do express reservation on this one. I do not like things that are kind of event driven. In this case, I would say this one is, but at least I'd be looking for a bounce off this level first, and then, you know, give it a chance. And here's what I can say about this one. I'd be cautiously optimistic about it, I suppose, as long as it remains above about 5.7. Yeah, about 5.7 cent right there would look okay. All right, let's see. Holy fuck, man. People are still talking about Litecoin. Oh no, it's little bull coin. Yeah, I think there's no more Litecoin hodlers anymore. Do you have AMP yourself? No, I don't hold a shit coins, man. I have no interest in this, whatever the fuck this thing is. Zero interest. If it's been around for just a few years, no way, no fucking way. I can answer your question about any sort of altcoin that I hold. I don't hold any. I hold Bitcoin and a little bit of Ethereum. That's it, man. Let's see. Okay, Derek Steinbach says just woke up. Sorry if I missed it. Matic has the major low moved up to 117. Let's check it out. Polygon. Let's see how this one survived here. 117. Is this? Hold on. Has the major low moved up to 117? No, it literally just got rejected from 117. It looks like. Let's go to the 4 hour. Oh, this is actually kind of a nasty rejection right here, to be fair. This one's not strong. I would have expected this one to be a little bit more on the strong side, but that is not the price action you'd be expecting for this. Not at all, sir. Not at all. Oh dear Lord. Yeah. Again, man, look, I understand that there's always gonna be like a sales pitch for an altcoin, but I'm not even saying that they're like bad. I'm just not interested. You're asking the wrong person. You're trying to feed a fucking cat a dog bone, right? I'm not the person to go to for altcoins. Like if you're asking about which one to hodl or not, go to Leo Trades. He's a pretty good resource for that. Pretty good, dependable, and also a good friend as well. This one right here. Okay, is 117 the higher low? Is that what you're asking? Has the major low moved up to 117? No, I mean, there's no low right here. If anything, the last 4 hour low was about 111, and that looks a little bit shaky to me too. The major low, if you're talking about on like the daily, I mean, that's nowhere near. It's 107. Maybe you hit the wrong key there, and you meant 107. In which case, I would agree. Yes. But the major low, yes, has moved down there. More importantly, I think this is a slightly lower low right here in comparison to your prior lows. So yeah, man. As far as the 4 hour goes, looks like it actually wants to keel over, man. This would be an example of not the best short term right now. Hidden bearish divergence populating itself as well. Now, we did say earlier that Bitcoin was going to pull back short term, but if it pulls back any more, I mean, what's that one going to start to look like? I do think Bitcoin could even pull back a little bit more from here. Like 33.7 is not out of the question. Still looks like a backfill to me. Yeah, hourly is not too problematic in my opinion as well. 25 likes to go. Holy fuck, we're almost there. We are almost there. Can we look at one more, please? HSI daily. Okay. Is this a stock or a crypto? Let's see what happens. Okay, that's probably a stock then. You're talking about this Hang Seng Index. I'll wait for you to confirm or deny, but I'll just go to it in the meantime. Okay, that's an hourly. Go to a daily as you requested. Yeah, looking good here. Apparently we've looked at this one before. Yeah, you can see clear and obvious signs of accumulation going on right here. I'd be looking for this one to test the top side of the resistance again. Probably on this move, 29,500-ish region. Problem with this one is that I don't know if it's ready to break out of that level just yet. We do see a lot of good indications here though. Ultimately over time I do like this. I just don't know if it's ready at this moment. Something like this what I'd be looking for. And if it can break above this level right here, I'd be looking for this one to return back up north of somewhere around 30,500-ish region. Long term, weekly. Yeah, it's fine long term. Just general uptrend on the weekly. I do like that. So yeah, looking good. This could be the one that actually does break to the upside. And we do see several jobs of hidden bullish evidence, and I typically like those ones for actually continuation. Looks fine. Hey, what's up, Matu? Hold on, let me just make sure I got everything else. Okay, I did. All right, sweet. All right, Machi says, hello, Flower Boy. Hello, sir. Have you looked at Doggy Coin? Actually, we did. This crap is moving the strongest. It is, and that's actually concerning to me. It kind of lets me know that this is probably a corrected move, if anything. And if this is a corrective move, then perhaps we're not done with the downside long term just yet. But this can be drawn out for a long time. Holy fuck, there's a little creature in here. Elsa's left the door open for too long again. There's a little flying thingy. No, it's not a bee. It's a harmless, like, I don't know, little thing that's up there. It's gone, sir. No, it's smaller than a moth. It's not a moth. Elsa's gonna freak out. She's gonna cry. All right. Let's see. Okay, so you're saying long from 23 cents should have went in with a bigger position. I guess it always feels like that, man. It always feels like that. Whenever you're in a winning position, you didn't put on enough risk. Whenever you're in a losing position, you put on too much risk. It's just natural way of feeling, man. Look, you made a good trade, and that's what you should be focusing on right here. You basically bought the breakout on the confirmation of the low. Not bad. And it sounds like you might be still be long. I mean, this would be a good place for short term pullback. Let's see what the lower term time frames say. 4 hours decent here. Oh my god, this one's literally had one of the best responses off the lows. oh fuck this market, man. This is not good. This is not good. We're gonna have Doggy Coin lead the market. That is that is concerning. What does the monthly look like on this one? I'm actually very curious to see. Oh my fucking god. Give me a break. Oh no. I do not like that, man. I really do not like that. Hey, thanks, Steven. I agree. They are very cute flowers right now. We are being good Finns today, dancing around poles and putting flowers in our hairs and, I don't know, singing classic Finnish songs. I don't know if they even have any, to be honest with you. Winning Choice 87 says, hello, sir. Did you miss my super chat? Maybe I did. Sorry about that, sir. Apologies on that, man. Actually, I did. I don't think I trying to pull it up right here. Okay, I got it right now, though. Sorry about that, man. I do apologize. ICP USD 4 hour, please. Sure. Okay, this is internet computer thing, which I don't think I've ever actually looked at, but I keep on seeing it on the winner and loser list. Looks absolutely terrible. Maybe the worst chart we've seen today, and I would even say by far. Never has known what a rally is on a daily. Never has known what an uptrend is on an hourly. Well, except for right here for a second. But that barely counts. Definitely not the picture of health and fitness. Now, with that said, is this one actually put in a bit of a base right here? Yeah, it looks like it is poised for a little bit of short-term upside, maybe back up to $38. But what time frames are we looking at here? 4 hour. Okay. I do think it's put in a bit of a low structure right here. Again, it's going to be based mostly off of the broad market in this case, but I do like the volume on that last little higher low, or a very anemic higher low right here, to be fair. You know, what I'd be looking at the next area of interest right around the high side of that last major rejection here at about $39. Above there, you can actually look forward to perhaps your first 4 hour rally in a long time. That's $39.50. I'd be looking at a target back up around 45 if that were to get taken out. But terrible chart, man. Terrible chart. And one of the worst actors off the lows thus far. I mean, this one 6% off the lows and got as much as 10.5, which in cryptocurrency land is nothing compared to anything else. So very bad response right there, unfortunately. But hey, above this level right here, I would be looking for it to go on a little bit of a rally. It's first rally in a very long time, but goddamn, man, yeah, nothing really good long term to say about a chart that looks like this. This is just the dead heartbeat. The dead heartbeat of irrelevance is what it looks like to me. Holy shit, man. Opens up at 3,000, trades all the way down to $35. Holy shit, here's a real chart. Blah. Blah. Just fucking down. All right, sirs and durs. We already did Cardano. So I think I am going to probably end it here, actually. We can go back to Bitcoin really quickly. We are playing out that sideways and downside move on the short-term timeframes that we identified from this earlier portion of the stream. I do still think, though, as long as Bitcoin does not crack below 33.7, I do still favor the medium-term continuation to our $36,000 to $36,500 target. The next big price action piece of information I'll be looking for, though, is the 2-day close, which will happen tonight. It's a little bit sloppy here, but the most obvious signal for further continuation into the deeper 30s and maybe even all the way to $40,000 would be a 2-day closure above last 2-day high, which is 34,800, which we're kind of in the vicinity of right now. If it closes like this, I'd feel less confident in that. But if it does close above, there would be no question about it. There will be multiple drives, 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence off the low to be accompanied by the daily, which already confirmed 1, 2, 3, 4 drives off the lows. And I'd be looking for that to propel price action back up to the top side of the range, anywhere around like 39 to $40,000 with a stop along the way at about 36.5. Again, if you're bullish here, you're probably looking at something like this, and you're kind of in the midst of this move right here, getting ready for the next sort of pop back up, which would be around your 36.5 level right here. From there, you're looking for a bit of a pullback and then range highs. So that's what I believe the blue laws are looking at right now. Now, of course, we should offer up a contingency on the other side. Where does Bitcoin really start to destroy the short-term, medium-term bullish narrative here? Well, the most obvious would be below 32,500 right here, our last higher low on the 4 hour. I would even say below 33.7 would be like a red flag. That would be where I would feel like just de-risking if I'm long. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but at the end of the day, you know, I still give the nod to the bulls here, to be honest with you. And I do think that this sideways and downside move is getting a little more mature here. Maybe we have a little slight move, a little bit more to the downside, like 33.7. But ultimately, I still more or less like it. So with that said, I want to wish you the best and the happiest. Have a happy midsummer. Yeah, have a happy midsummer. Or how do you say it in Finnish? Uvar Yolua. Yeah, there you go. All right, well, all right, you want to say it?
Juhannusta.
There you go. All right, you've all been blessed with the Finnish angel voice, and now I'll be signing off. I'll be back on tomorrow, very likely with a regular recorded video, and maybe today again with a shorts. We'll see if it's relevant or not. All right, fair enough. Take care. See you soon, and until next time.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it,